Well, hello and welcome everybody, and good afternoon to what promises to be another fantastic meet here in Metz. And some of those meet records are not to be messed with. So exciting to see how close the athletes can get to those. They're going to have to get pretty close because, of course, those world indoor standards, those European indoor standards have been knocked down again, and they're getting harder and harder to achieve with numbers of those championships becoming less and less. So expect to see a lot of these races designed for qualification around the European indoors and the world indoors. And as we take a look at that timetable, men's triple jump just warming up and about to get underway in 10 minutes or so's time. We've got the pole vault here today. Also, welcome back Chris Nielsen, who is just on an absolute roll, and women's 60, a few sprints early on, and we really have got a whole mix of everything, a proper athletics meeting, if you like, and touching on just about every single distance with a few field events in the mix as well. So it does promise to be quite the fantastic afternoon. We've just seen, actually, just before coming on air, a few of those 1500 B race, the men's, and in the women's and men's 3,000 meter B race. And when we talk about the level of depth internationally, but also domestically in France, it is quite incredible. And that Olympic legacy continues to live on, and the way that the nation came together to put on what was a very, very special couple of weeks in August. And there's been a lot of young athletes and even athletes into their 20s and beyond who have been inspired and continue to lift their game and get stuck into another Olympic cycle. We are still early on in 2025, but the indoor season always comes and goes in a flash, doesn't it? It gives us a small indication of perhaps what we're going to see this summer, and any athletes coming out the woodwork that we should be looking out for. And these crowds, they can get so close up to the action. It's why Metz often produce some electric times. The atmosphere in this arena really echoes and bounces off the walls. And this crowd will be looking forward to the next couple of hours. We'll be on air around about just over 3 hours of athletics action ahead of you. And the meeting ending, by the way, with that men's 600 meters. It's a stacked weekend, full stop, for indoor track and field, or short track, shall I say. And you think Milrose Games taking place tonight. We were in Karlsruhe yesterday, and there's a whole host of meetings over the next 24 hours as well into Sunday. And of course, many athletes as well preparing for their national championships either next weekend or the following weekend, and that's when we'll know. The deadline, by the way, for the European Indoor Championships to get those qualifying times or those world ranking points slammed shut on the 23rd of February, as well as the World Indoors. So from there, we will know more. First track event will be the men's 400 meters. We're going to have 3 races, and that's off in 10 minutes or so's time. But perhaps we are due a little bit of an opening ceremony here in Metz to enjoy and really welcome you guys from around the world. In fact, this is the men's 60-meter hurdles, under 20 men. So away they go, clean start from all. It's a full French domestic field at this stage. Who's going to take it? Comfortable running, 7:83. Fantastic. Looked like Theo Rambat, who has had a pretty impressive season to date as well. Saw him a couple weekends ago out in Nantes, and looking very, very good. Sami Luaida Baba as well. Well, here's the opening ceremony that was promised. I do apologise if that men's 60-metre hurdles under 20 race caught us off guard. There will be a final. They will have another run out later on in the programme to look forward to. But then just some of the nationalities here today in Metz. And, well, if the Olympics didn't showcase enough already of how global our sport of track and field is, there's nothing quite like it. Every corner of the world participates in this sport, and to a very, very high level as well. Stars from all over the globe, many different continents, climates, and training regimes. So just some of the local community, young athletes carrying these flags out onto the track. And it always is. The impact these meets have on the local French community is rather impressive. Continue to inspire generations.
Sélectionné aux Jeux Olympiques Para de Paris, 6e sur le 400 mètres, Laure Ustaritz.
Celui qui arrive maintenant détient le record national des Philippines avec 6 mètres au saut à la perche. 4e des derniers Jeux Olympiques de Paris, Ernesto Obiena.
So it's something we've become accustomed to seeing is not only these opening ceremonies, but also introducing some of the stars on offer. Here's Ernesto Obiena. What a fantastic pole vaulter. He is always there or thereabouts on the global stage as well, competing for top prize. There he is, then the world leader, Chris Nielsen. What a season, indoor season he's having. He is thoroughly enjoying himself. He'll have a couple more comps before he heads back over to the US and gets ready for their World Indoor Championships in trials, and I'm sure we'll see him in Nanjing, China. So two incredible pole vaulters, some of the best of the best. Nadine Visa as well. Again, another athlete who is having, we won't call it a surprise season, but a very, very good season so far. And she's cementing herself as one of the best in the world over the 60-meter hurdles in 2025. We look forward to seeing her. So it's moments like this you start to realize the talent on display here in Metz.
Elle a tout explosé la saison dernière. Le record de France du 1500 en salle et en plein air. Le record de France du demi-mètre. Applaudissements pour la Bretonne, Agathe Guillemot.
Well, there she is then, the French national record holder, newly crowned in the indoor mile just last weekend as well. Agathe Guillemot. Phenomenal. 3:56 outdoors last year at those Paris Olympic Games. It couldn't have gone much better, and she continues to impress. She's come out fully firing in 2025. And these athletes getting a mega introduction here. Well, Pascal Martineau-Lagarde, he's done this a few times. Perhaps a decade or so beyond his very best, but still in the game. It's still in contention, I would say, potentially. I mean, French hurdling is in a very, very good place right now. He's going to do well to make the national team on those European indoors and world indoors. But, you know, Pascal Martineau-Lagarde, he's a man who's been there and done it. And if anyone knows what gets him in shape, it is him. These athletes awarded nice little mascot. One of the best in the world, over 400, especially indoors as well. And they just keep on coming here in Metz. Jan Skrup, out he comes, silver medalist over the 10,000, European cross-country champion. We're going to see him in the 3,000. and start to get a bit of an indication of where he's at and how his winter's gone so far. Distance runners, a little bit easy to tell as they often compete over the country like scrub and on the roads.
Finaliste des Jeux Olympiques 2024 de Paris, elle est ici. Allez de la deuxième, Oriana Lazar-Classe. Et enfin, ambassadeur, inoxydable, le bronzé, le médaillé de bronze des Jeux de Rio en 2016 sur 200 mètres. Lui, qui n'a pas encore mis un terme à sa carrière, c'est un grand plaisir pour nous, le Français Christophe Lemaître, détenteur de Tour de France de la spécialité.
Well, a few local athletes now just being introduced to this crowd. Hey, Christophe Lemaître. What about him? Former medalist at the Olympic Games in the sprints. He really did. You know, talking about inspiring a generation. It takes someone like him to reach the heights of this sport. You know, with the Olympic Games on the horizon, they were hosting in Paris. They needed a few figures in 2016 and 2020 to really drive sport in France and showcase what is possible come Paris. And I think Lemaître did a fantastic job of that. He really did. Wow, this is quite something. We're being spoiled here in Metz. Femke Bol is in the arena, not racing, just watching, but wow. Hey, former meet record holder here. Former champion here as well, Femke Bol. 49.69 just last year. Femke ran, went on to break the world record, of course. There's her training partner, Nikki Klaver.
Pour vous dire, il y a certains meetings aux États-Unis qui n'ont pas la chance d'être dans le top 10. Nous, on est dans le top 6. C'est grâce au soutien de partenaires. Et nous avons 3 gros partenaires présents sur la piste. Patrick Weiten, président du département de la Moselle. Nous avons Guiraïs, adjoint au sport à la ville de Metz. Et nous avons un partenaire...
Well, I must say, more meetings should look at what they do here in France and use this and take these special traits of French indoor meetings to the rest of the world. You know, putting athletes on display like this, introducing them to the crowd, just making them accessible. And of course, indoors, you're just so much closer to them as well. Fantastic, a real blueprint for how to run a track and field meeting. And you're going to see more how it all unfolds throughout the afternoon. And I think the athletes enjoy this part of the sport as well. Not often. They are so dedicated. They work in the shadows, but not often are they presented in such ways. They might not have the same celebrity status that some of the other sports around the world do. For example, football and tennis and a whole host of American sports. But it's a start here in Metz. And talking of a start, things are about to get underway. Men's triple jump. There we are, Melvin Raffin of France. He'll lead the way and get things going in that triple jump competition. I mean, Lazaro Martinez is really the one to watch. I mean, he's top 10 in the world ranking currently. He had a nice win last weekend to get his season underway. And 8 of those Olympic Games in 2016 and 2024. Here we are, they're talking to Martinez. He was introduced and presented as one of the focal athletes of this 2025 meeting in Metz. But there is quite a few more men in the triple jump competition. It's not just him, so let's introduce ourselves to the gentleman. Did a fantastic job in the arena on the mic as well. There really are. So the men's triple jump. I mentioned Melvin Raffin. He's having a good season so far. Really, if he wants to contend with these boys, though, he's going to have to get, well, close to his lifetime best, you would suggest. Here he is, then Martinez, 17:03. That was last weekend. Silver medalist at the World Championships in 2023. Former World Indoor Champion in 2022 as well. And, like I said, win in Val d'Isère. Dos Santos, well, he was also in Val d'Isère. Short trip over for him. It worked quite well. But 11th at the Olympic Games, 2nd at the World Indoors in 2018. And that's an indication just how fired up these men are. The triple jump here. Ujpek, Turkish athlete, strong European. Well, here's Max Heiss, 7th of those Olympic Games in 2024. 2nd at the World Indoor Championships in 2016. 8 years apart and still one of the very best in the world. Always there in and around that top 10. Well, Diaz Hernandez, 3rd at the Olympic Games, and he produced it when he mattered on that occasion. He really did, the Italian. And, well, here's Jonathan Valin, 15:70. He is in some quite mesmerizing company. I'm sure he's going to learn a thing or two. Is Valin. So the men's triple jump. Many of them have already faced off this year already. I mentioned Val d'Isère. That played host to 3 of these gentlemen down there. And so they'll go again. They've made the same travel over. They've probably had a very similar week. And they may have even linked up for a couple training sessions. And athletes do. I think this time of the year, although it is fierce, competitions are on the horizon, there's qualification marks to be hit, they do all have a slightly bigger picture, and they're happy to work together at this stage. There's not so much pressure on them to really perform, because if it doesn't quite go to plan at this stage in the season, you have got time to go back, get stuck into an Easter training block, and of course make some tweaks and changes to your program, and then build for the outdoors. And those World Championships a little later than usual. September will be over in Tokyo for those 2025 World Championships. So the men's triple jump are all but set. But the men's 400. Well, here we are then. Bit of a shame only to see 3 line up in this one, but I'm sure the meet organisers worked very, very hard to get all, and they did have quite a big field, but these men won't mind that. Less traffic in the 400, the better. Can they slot in single file? Well, there's Eugene Amala. He's the European record or national record holder in the mixed relay, of course. He was a man who is on that Olympic Games winning team for the Netherlands. He did also have Femke Bol and Lieke Klaver. Lifetime best of 45.18. That's outdoors. So the men's 400, Theo Andan, Eugene Amala, Julian Watrin. So Andan's on the outside, Amala just inside of him, and it's Watrin, the Belgian, who is just a little bit behind at the moment. Amala's gone out very, very hard. He's got a nice lead, and he'll be able to use the bank, but so will Andan, and it looks like these men will just let Amala drift to the front through this first 200, but sometimes it can be a negative for him. He's out front, he's going to be under pressure on that final bend, and he's got to hold it. You can see him running wide. Doesn't like these sharp turns here in Metz, does he? But he's going to have to negotiate it one final time. Theo Andan just in behind him, and Julian Watrin out there as well on the track. Coming off this bend then, there's a gap on the inside for Watrin. Is he going to take it? Yes, he is. Amala, that's a rookie error. Watrin on the line, 46-21. Oh, dear. Big mistake there. There we are. Lifetime best for Andant. Do apologize. It was Andant, not Watrin. He was the other athlete in orange who never quite got on it, did he? But Theo Andant on the inside. But I can't help but think just played into his hands. The way O'Mara raced that, it was like he was a pacer, the way he just drifted out. But he wasn't enjoying those bends. He left room for Andant to come through. And that's what happens. So let's have a good look at this replay. You can see Julian Watcher didn't get out too well, but it was O'Mara leading the whole way up until that last 20 meters or so and just faded, drifting out. You can see his form breaking down, the loss of power through the arms, and actually almost getting out leaned on the line himself. But Theo Andant, that is a fantastic result, and that's a lifetime best for him as well, knocking almost half a second off that lifetime best, 46.21. And he's a World Championship silver medalist in the 4x4. Great result for French athletics on that occasion a couple of years ago at those World Championships. So we do have what will be a 400 meter B final, and then of course a 400 meter A final. How they're seeded, I do not have that information quite to hand. So, like I say, to see Theo Andant in that one, and that's just the C final, was a little bit of a surprise. He is one of the stronger candidates across the whole field, so maybe he just seeded evenly. Here's Dos Santos in the triple jump. Out pretty long for him. Just over the 15-meter mark. Have to keep an eye.
Alors sachez qu'en secours, on a un double décamètre, mieux, et que maintenant toutes les mesures s'opèrent avec des systèmes électroniques.
Yeah, Dos Santos, the Brazilian, full medalist at the World Indoor Championship back in 2018, 7 years on. It's amazing the longevity of some of these athletes being able to perform at the highest level for even longer than perhaps they used to be able to. I think technology advancements are a credit to that. Men's 400 meter B final in the blocks on the outside. Ricky Petrucciani. It gets out well. They all do, don't they? First time. And Giles Byron just on the inside of him. Nick Schmidt in 4. He's the powerful figure in the dark singlet there. And Jamie O'Mara, brother of Eugene, is also in this. He goes right on the inside with that white headband. So Schmidt looks like he wants to hit the front through this first 200, didn't he? He was force to be reckoned with through that opening lap. Here we go then. Giles Byron, probably just where you want to be at this stage. He's going to have to swing wide. Schmidt's not an easy man to get round. But 46.4, his lifetime best. Can he hang on? Just starting to tie up a little bit. 3 of them. He wants to hold lane 1. Schmidt, if he saw anything from that previous race, he doesn't want to drift out. Is he going to get out leaned by Pricciani on the inside? He is. He comes through, and the Swissman takes it. And I can't believe what we're watching. It's deja vu. You just have to shut the door. Schmidt couldn't do that. It's a difficult position to be in. It is, if you're Schmidt, because you know he had Byron on his shoulder to the right of him. Look at it come by on the outside. You're trying to hold him off. Your instinct is to drift out on the home straight. It's just what happens. However, you open up the door for Ricky Petrucciani. And he'll come through and he'll do that to you. The established Swiss 400-meter man. He's had a strong career today, and he's one of these athletes who is due a bit of a breakthrough. I always think indoors you do get a sense and an idea of who's going to really perform come you know, those World Championships or challenge, you know, when it's a European Championship year, we'll see him in Apeldoorn for sure. Look at that dip on the line. It's nice world ranking points for him. Schmidt in the end did manage. Oh, did he actually? Just, oof. In fact, no, by 700th of a second, looking on my screen, he managed to hold off Charles Byron. There we are then, so Petrucciani, Schmidt, Byron, and Omana. Nice season's best for Omana, brother of Eugene. So a good weekend for them. They'll be enjoying themselves. Always nice to travel with a training partner. Go to these meets, share the experience. It's what the sport's all about, especially traveling on the circuit. So we'll have that supposed A final will be next. But I'm a little bit surprised at the athletes that have been seeded across these races. It's almost like they've handpicked a few to give them the best chance of running fast. So I would go as far as not calling them an A, B, and a C final, just 3 evenly matched 400s. So we are, so Max Hess just jumping there in a triple jump. That's 16.69. It's come up on my screen. There we are. Diaz Hernandez getting his competition underway. No messing around. Straight up towards that 17-minute mark. And you can see the world lead next to it as well, folks. So as I mentioned, this is the, we'll call it the third and final men's 400 meters, because we seem to have an even split of talent across all 3 of these races. Not necessarily an A, B, and a C final. So Jan Spielman goes on the outside. He's a sub-46 man outdoors. Here's Isaiah. Olympic Games gold medalist in the mixed relay, the Dutchman. And here's Tony van Diepen. 400, 800 man, does have a very strong 800 on him. He really does. He's a silver medalist from that mixed relay in Tokyo in 2021. We know the Netherlands, it's slowly becoming their national event, isn't it? And another Dutchman then. And Brock there. Beanie Brock goes on the inside. He's going to do well to hang with these guys. You look at the likes of Tony van Diepen. He's been down on that 46.0. 45.400 meter runner outdoors. Cycline. Another man to look out for. He goes in 5. So away these men go. Klein will have Spielman to just key off, and so far the leader at 200 has come from lane 5 in every single race, and is looking that way once again as Klein. He's just effortlessly cruising around that top bend. He's so relaxed, isn't he? And yeah, you talk about athletes announcing themselves. This man certainly has. He's an Olympic gold medalist, and the confidence that brings now going into races. It also helps you get into a lot more races on the circuit as well. So he's having a clear run. This is beautiful from Klein. Round this final bend, he's all out front. He's going to need to keep the inside, but to be honest, he's not under threat at all. He's looked very, very smooth. Looking to put down a little bit of a mark-up for 2025, and that relay team, of course, 46.4. Smooth running from him. Cycline. Like I said, with a newfound confidence from that Olympic Games. I mean, season's best for him as well. 45.28 outdoors. He'll be looking to attack that. Spielman then worked his way through in his second. Van Diepen and Brock third and fourth. And I think the meet organizers have done well there, splitting the 400 into those 3 races, not packing them too much, allowed these men to run a little bit faster. And with the standards just getting harder and harder and harder, you think of that European Championship qualifying mark of 46.2, and then the World Champs qualifying mark of 45.20. I mean, for Nanjing, that is very, very difficult indoors. Put it into context, the world lead is only 0.1 or so of a second faster than that right now. So these men will be grateful for the fact that they didn't overpack the races. They had a clear run. The 400 indoors, we know it can get physical. However, at some point, you probably do have to practice for those physical 400s and getting through 200 and having to scrap for your position and working around people on that top end. Because that's what you're going to have to negotiate come the heats at the European Championships and the World Championships. As much as it's nice to get a clear run and shoot for a fast time, it might not be so beneficial come the big dance. Okay, women's para 400 meters will be next on the track, and we can see just 3 of them just prepping themselves and getting ready to go. The men's pole vault is about to start. That's off at 4:30. Just checking back in with this men's triple jump. There we are, Lazaro Martinez. Yeah, just a touch over 16. Does not care one bit, does he? Walks back through the sandpit, and that one might have even been a foul. Diaz Hernandez leads the way in that triple jump, 16.80, nice season's best for him. And interestingly enough, you know, only 3 men beyond 17 meters in the triple jump in 2025. And you would definitely say quite a slow start. 16.50 breaks you into the top 10. So Max Hester, 16.69, he is now in the top 10 in the world. So the only reason I say that, obviously, come the World Indoor Championships in Nanjing, only 12 athletes will be lucky enough to go there and compete, and they'll just have that one pool. So looking at those world rankings and the top list, it's quite important. So he'll pick up a few points here today, Max Hess, especially if he can stay in second. That won't be easy with Lazaro Martinez a little bit further down the pecking order. European Championship qualifying mark, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, 17 meters. So anything beyond that is a very, very good jump at this stage in the season for these men. And we wouldn't call it fireworks, but we start to threaten that world lead. Mashinsky there, just visualizing the next 60 seconds or so in this women's para 400 meters. Here we are then on the inside, Penelope Valet. In fact, Masinski goes in 5. He's been through. Zazune, Camille Charlotte Zazune, opening up her season, but also opening up her career in the 400. Staritz stars in French Paris sport, and Penelope Valet on the inside as well. So here we go then. Usteritz, Zazune, Masinski, and right on the outside, who we haven't seen yet, Aya Gardini, who looks to not be in her lane, so she hasn't started. There's information for us. Well, off they go then. Marshinsky gets out well. Zazune on the inside of her looks to be making up that stagger. Of course, they've all got slightly different disabilities, so you never... hard to put into context of how fast and how good a performance some of these will produce here today. But on the inside, then, it's Penelope Valet, who is just storming clear at this stage in 2, and she's having it all her own way. This is a lovely lead she's got after lap 1. She's going to have to use the crowd to echo her around this final lap as well. They know what they're watching. Zazune just behind her, just holding that, 10 meters or so now. Needs to stick at her task. Anything can happen on that top bend. We've seen many athletes really struggle with lactic through that final 100 in the 400, and especially at this stage, you'd like to think coming off the winter, they'll have a bit of speed endurance and a bit of strength work in them, so they won't fall apart too much. But that lactic can be a shock, and look at Zazune coming through, perfectly paced. She takes it in Metz, 63.39. Wow. The first ever 400 indoors. Goes and does that. A new star, perhaps, in 2025. Wonderful to see as well those club colors of Metz Athletic Club. Right at the fore of that race. All right, then here's the men's pole vault. What a lineup, time and time again. One of the events where you always get a very, very exciting matchup, no matter what meet you're at. Meet organizers manage to get a stellar pole vault lineup, partly because they are happy just to compete all the time. Here we are, a bit of confusion then in the lineup. There we are, that was the Greek, Ioannis Rizos, 562. So we're not quite sure of the order these men are getting introduced down on the track. Here we go, we've got Ben Broders, we've got Menno Vloon to look forward to. The Dutchman. Here he is, he's had a great season so far, he has impressed. Fifth in the world right now. The cameraman is struggling, he's Chris Nielsen doing a great job organising them all down there. He's to the right of picture, by the way. In that Nike tracksuit, Chris Nielsen, he's the world leader, silver medal at the Olympic Games back in 2021. Paris didn't go his way, but he hasn't sulked about it. He's come out fully firing in 2025 and leads the world list. There's Ben Broders, another man to the left of picture, 14th in the world, 572 is season's best, Belgian national record holder. Represented on the global stage many times. But there's Menno Vloon, yes, introduced him already 13 times, national champion, and interestingly, has operated over 60 meters this year just to try and raise that top speed, and it's been working. There was a short period where he was the highest in the world. There's Ernest Obiena, South American and national record holder, 4th at Olympic Games in Paris. Chris Nielsen, well, you run out of words to describe this man and the feats he's achieved. 2nd and 3rd at the World Championships in 2022 and 2023. But of course, yeah, Paris didn't go his way. Like I said, though, he's gone back to basics and he's come out very, very impressive so far in 2025, already clearing 6 meters, 6:01. That lifetime best of his, by the way, 6 meters in 5 centimeters. So he's edging closer to it. And only 3 men in the world at 585 or above currently. And I think we have a few in this field who can certainly try and attack that. Well, the men's 1500A final is up next. So from a little bit of the quarter milers now to the milers as we step up. A stacked field, they're always busy. 13 or so men. And that's the side. Spend a little bit of time on the far left there. 315 out in America, University of South Carolina, competing in the NCAA system. Operates very, very well over 1500, 337 seasons best in Belgrade. Took a win there. And that's what you can go off indoors, whether you're winning or not. I think that's more important than the time. Noah Boutus, part of that OAC Europe group. What a witness George Mills set that world lead in the 3000. If he's anywhere near that kind of shape, he's certainly one to watch. Dominic Kropp, Uganda, 342. His lifetime best. Many think he's worth a lot more than that, that's for sure. And Kazar goes on the inside. So the men's 1500. Ruben van Verheyden on the outside as well, next to Anatasai. Be good if all of these men can stay on their feet through this opening 200. They'll break over on the back straight. Couple of pacemakers in this, Delbone and Szyminski. So those two are up front doing a nice job early on. You can see Verheyden, Ruben Verheyden in a tall, towering figure, just moving things along. Flavien Schott also goes in this, 336 man, and Asasai looks to be just third in the race, fifth overall. Looking very smooth at this stage. So they are rifling round these men through this opening 342, perhaps a little hot. This is going to be a shock to the system for a few of them. Like I said, it's you really have got to pace your race right at this time of year. You're coming off that strength work, and yeah, you might have a race or two in your legs, but it's still going to be a shock. You see them through that open 456 and change, 57 really. And Asai just starting to gradually move himself up. And Verheyden doing a very, very nice job, sitting quite comfortably actually, 70 through that 500-meter split. So the Belgian, 4:52 national record holder over the 2,000, and that's an impressive time for the 2,000. He has run 7:39 indoors already, 3:37's his season's best. He'll be full of confidence. 3:33 outdoors as well, but to be honest, the way the 1,500 meters is moving, that doesn't really make a dent on the world scene. Here we are. So 3:34 is those green lights. They are way ahead of them at this stage. Josh Huey's that world lead, 3:33.66. We could see that under threat if these men are going to keep this going. The meet record, of course, Solomon Barrega with 3:34. So 3:33.5 as well is that world qualification mark. 3:37.0 European mark, and a lot of these men will just want to box that off. Not relevant for Asai. He's going to want to go for 3:33. And those green lights at 3:34. And that's probably a good thing. Allows you to kick, allows you to rally over that last lap. This is phenomenal running. These men, 2:22 on that curved line. That's the 1,000 split. It's doable from here. They're going to need to work together. I think Asai is going to need to pull round and potentially help out Verheyden. He's done this all on his own. He's been happy to get after it, follow those pacemakers and chase this down. Well, these two were out in Belgrade. They had a great dust up there. Asai came out on top. He knows he could beat him, but he's going to have to do it here in Metz. It's a different occasion. You've got a race in your legs as well. Is he fatigued? Is he tired? Coming off that NCA system, he's used to racing. Boy, did they work them out there. So he's probably relishing in the fact that he was able to have a full winter build through the autumn and into the winter as well. And here goes Asai then. Just drifting round, slightly cuts up inside him. 3:06 with a lap to run. They're going to need to close hard if they're going to get that world standard. 3:33.5, ladies and gentlemen. That's the mark you want to look at. The green lights obviously set to 3:34. Verheyden, you want him to hang on. You want him to at least dip inside that European standard. He's looking good for the Europeans, though. Certainly one to watch. But Asai is going to take it here in Metz. The meet record's under threat. He takes that. Oh, ever so close to the world standard as well. Barrega's mark of 3:34 has been slashed. Asai continues to be unbeaten in 2025. The first of many this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I truly think that some of the stars we have. It's a national record for Verheyden as well of Belgium. And Palisic, what running from him? Rafael Palisic of Austria, sixth of those European champs in 2024. Bouts in there, 3:37, that's a lifetime best. So close to that European standard. Charles Gretten getting back to his best in a fantastic 2022. The Luxembourg national record holder. So they went fast in the men's 1,500, and you often get it, don't you? Post-Olympic cycle, new names tend to announce themselves. I tell you what, this Belgian Verheyden is certainly one. He did the hard running, and you flip the switch there and you put him in sort of second place, sitting behind Asai the whole way. Maybe the result is different. However, he'll be happy enough with that European standard, I'm sure. And world ranking points will play its part when it comes to the men's 1500. It really will. You know, not many have gone crazy fast. Well, very few. I mean, that is in fact a world lead as well. 3:33.55. If you count Ethan Strand's en route actually to his 3:48 mile in Boston. So right around it, but as I was saying, not too many men have been inside that European standard, not too many inside the world standard either, so world rankings will play a factor, and that's what the organization and World Athletics want. They want to be able to, athletes to be forced to race and get after it. So from the men's 1500 meters to the women's 60. They're going to have 2 heats here. It's going to be the first 3 across the line and 2 fastest losers, or 2-time qualifiers, I should say. Much more political. Bamada goes on the inside, then Luma Bamada. 7:64, season's best. He is in good form, actually. Comes into this nearing, getting down towards that lifetime best. Marie-Ange Rimlingello, who's having a fantastic season so far. Always there or thereabouts. She's done a lot of races as Rimlinger. 7:35, season's best. Bamada being introduced to the crowd. One of 2 French women in this race. Well, here's Rimlinger. So consistent. Very, very consistent. And Ricky Bishop's 7:31. Another athlete to look out for, Del Ponte. Well, 21 years old, the Belgium, Yahais. And on the outside. Tananic. Yahais, certainly one of the favourites in this, who goes in 5. Del Ponte on the inside of her as well. National record holder in the 4x1. 7th in Belgrade a couple weeks ago now. Former European indoor champion back in 2021. Can she get back to that form? For that 7:03 lifetime best. Oh, yep. Oh, it looks like Bishop. It really did. Wasn't comfortable in the blocks at all, was she? Well, the camera here focusing on your heights. Let's have a look down the line. Bishop's is, oh no, do you know what? Rimlinger's flinched. Bishop's reacted to that and set everyone else off. I think Marie-Ange Rimlinger is going to have a red card here. I have seen some discrepancies though. Are we seeing a green card? We wait. No false start, and I'm not even going to try and attempt to understand these false start rules now. That keep shocking the change. It seems to be that each meet kind of decides how lenient they're going to be when it comes to the false start, especially when we have heats in a final and at this stage in the season. But if that's not a false start, it was as clear as any. I don't know what is. So, just as confused as you are at home. Tananic, Yahais, Del Ponte, Bishops, Rimlinger, who flinched in the blocks, and Bamada on the inside. Women's 60 meters, heat 1. So clean start for all. Don't forget, we're looking for that top 3 here. Rimlinger gets a great start. Del Ponte gonna take it in the end. Very smooth from her. Let's have a look and wait for those official results. It's a big cue for Del Ponte. It's Bishops as well. It's going to finish alongside her, just a couple tenths back. There we are, 7:26 season's best for Del Ponte. I mentioned, can she get back to that form that saw her win that European indoor gold back in 2021, and 4 years later, looking like she might. Your heist there, 7:40. Just clean start. Tananic was slow out the blocks, wasn't she? But look at Del Ponte. Rimlinger gets a flyer. No nerves from that false start, but then Del Ponte works through, and Bishop's taking second in your heist there in third. So very, very impressive to the form book as well. All three of those women qualifying comfortably. The others, 7:40. Rimlinger will have to wait and see. Tananic as well, 7:62. Whether they go through as time qualifies. And there you are, full confirmation. Uma Bamada down there in 6th place, 7:66. Good work from the French woman. Jonathan Valenda fouled in the first round. What's he got here? Valid mark. I think that might be another foul for him, actually. He's we're into the 4th round of this men's triple jump competition. He's got a 14.99 under his belt already. Well, that's good jumping there. Santos waiting to go. That's not Dos Santos though. That's Martinez, Lazaro Martinez. 16:55. Has moved his way up into 3rd. So we'll wait to see what this one comes in at. See if he will challenge. Women's 60 then, heat 2. For a little cutout, mind a few technical difficulties, but here we go. Tori Lewis, I mean, she's been on the circuit. All of these women, actually, this is the stronger of the 2 heats. It really is. Hunston in here as well, and Mabel Akande right on the outside. The British athlete, 18 years of age, 11:27, 100-meter lifetime best. 3rd of those British indoor championships just last year over the 60. Guyang on the inside, Mont in 2, Vandenberg, who is having a fantastic season. 7:47, Tori Lewis, certainly one to watch. 7:14, fastest in the field by far. So it's the Australian dead centre, Tori Lewis, who we're looking at. We expect to take this one. Going to the form book, she storms clear. 7:31 for her. Not quite as quick as Del Ponte, but perhaps she'll be slightly fresher come that final. Women's 60 meters in. Well, those heats are wrapped up. Now we do the math and we find out who is going to qualify for that final. 7:29 is the official time. National record for Lewis as well. And the indoor 60. Not run a heat in Australia for obvious reasons, but Tori Lewis, she has impressed on the circuit so far. She's done a lot of races as well. 11:10, that national record, and they are very, very excited. Just still 20 years of age, down under about this talent. They have a lot of reasons to be as well. The World Junior silver medalist over the 200. So coming indoors, sharpening up that start, sharpening up that opening 30-40 meters. And you know when you've got a 200 talent like Tori Lewis that she's not going to slow up. The endurance is going to be there over that last 10. So when she edged out clear, the writing was on the wall. So we've seen meet records, national records, what more to come here in Metz. The women's 60 hurdles will be up next, followed by that men's 60 hurdles as well. And straight final is the men's, but the women will be 2 heats, if I am correct. In heat 1, we got the likes of Nadine Visser. Wow, 5th in the world right now when you go to her on the rankings. Top European as well with that 777. It's a national record from back in 2021, but also national record holder outdoors 12:36. 4th at the Olympic Games. Nadine Visser. It truly was a special performance. So close. Well, here goes Raffin. You can see his series so far. What can he do? 1650. It's a good mark from him, and he continues to move up the world list if he can improve on this. Like I said, only 10 men have gone above 1650. There we go. That has got to be as well. That looks like a more like a 1670 odd jump from Raffin. Producing. That meet record back 10 years ago now. Alexis Capello, 17:07. And you look at who we've got here today. Martinez, Dos Santos, Hernandez. It's doable. It really is doable. Can we see another meet record go? World leader Jordan Scott, 17:14. I mentioned before this meeting here today, 16:57 would have you 10th in the world, the men's triple jump. Very modest at the moment. And those marks, the European marks of 17 meters and 17:40 for the world indoors. Here goes the Cuban once again, Martinez. To 16:55. The depth is there in this men's triple jump. We're seeing some of the best in the world. 16:71 by Raffin for that 4th round. Nice season's best for him. Martinez is going to have to respond. He does. Now, has that just gone above that 16:71. And another story unfolding in this men's triple jump as we watch a quick replay of Martinez. I think he's improved. 16:62, so he has improved, but not by enough, unfortunately for him. Still sits in 4th. Raffin in 3rd, and Max Hayes 16:98 in 2nd. But Diaz Hernandez, ladies and gentlemen, the Italian, sits at the top of the pile, 17:09. We've seen a meet record, and we edge closer to the world lead of 17:14. He's just getting started. Is the Italian, the Olympic bronze medalist. Hess will jump next, and then Diaz Hernandez will, so we'll keep you posted on that one. Here we go then, women's 60-meter hurdles. Heat 1 on the inside. Skuster. Francesca Skuster, the German. 8:09, her season's best. Well, Letitia Baptiste has had a fantastic week. She was a winner here in Val d'Oise last weekend. Made the Olympic Games last year. Knocked out in that repechage round. I'm sure many of you have your opinion on the repechage round itself. So in terms of world rankings and depth, this women's 60-meter hurdle really is one of the highlights of the meeting here in Metz, hence why we've got a heat and a final. These athletes love the race. There she is then, Francesca Schuster. Crystal Morrison then, the Jamaican. So experienced. 12:69 outdoors. I mentioned Letitia Baptiste already. was impressive last weekend. That was a big win for her in Val d'Oro, and athletes need momentum coming into any season, especially building towards a championship. You want to get some wins under your belt. To do that here, though, she's going to have to beat this woman, Nadine Visser, the European leader at this stage, 4th place at the Olympic Games, and she's come out firing in 2025. She really has, winning on the circuit a couple times already. Yumi Tanaka then, Asian Games bronze medalist a couple years ago, back in 2023. And Daphne Giorgio of Cyprus goes on the outside. So all eyes on 4. Visser, the way she's operated. But Letitia Baptiste just 100th of a second behind her on season's best. These two could well be going head-to-head in Apeldoorn for a medal. So the psychological battle is key here. So Baptiste starts better than Visser at this stage, but this is where she comes into her running. Can she get back on terms with Baptiste? She can't. The Frenchwoman takes it on home soil. It's only a heat. We won't get too excited. But as I mentioned, we could well be looking at 2 athletes going for the European title in a few weeks' time, and it might well be one of these 2 who takes gold. So that psychological boost is important. And the confidence Baptiste will get from that. She just started stronger. Visser could just not get back on terms. Let's have a look at the times as well. Officially 7:87, equal lifetime best for Letitia Baptiste. Visser 7:91. Look at this, it just gets up to that first hurdle, rises just a touch before Visser, and then really just edges clear, does the damage on hurdles 2 and 3, and then just holds it, holds that lead. And it's always a great sight, isn't it, to see hurdlers just lean at the end. They're some of the best in the world. They really do have to practice their dip. It's fine margins, it's how you attack that last 10. No one dips quite like a sprint hurdler. So Letitia Baptiste, big win for her against Visser. We know it's just a heat. Visser will come back with a vengeance, I'm sure. Look at that. National record for Yumi Tanaka there of Japan. 8 flat. Well, she's still edging her wide towards that World Indoor qualifying mark of 7:94. Tanaka, so she'll have that on her mind come the final, continuing to improve throughout the year as well. So here's Martinez. Is this frustration from him? Are we seeing he's a little bit frustrated in himself? You can see he spikes off, seems to be resting and recovering at this stage. We're into the final stages of this men's triple jump. I'm not sure anyone is going to get near Diaz Hernandez. We're into the 5th round. Jonathan Vellin will be enjoying himself out there. He is amongst some of the very best in the world. He'll be learning as much as possible from them as well. And a good jump, almost sort of equaling that mark of 14.99. That was early on. 14.93 in fact, so just shy. Consistent jumping from Jonathan Vellin.
Il faut savoir que derrière ces maillots bleus, quand on met un maillot bleu en équipe de France, c'est qu'on est international.
Dos Santos will jump next, and then will be Ushbeku 16.50. So I mentioned before the meet, I think we're going to see several men break into the top 10 in the world, and we have already. We've got Lazaro Martinez 16.62 in 4th, Rathin 16.71 in 3rd, Hess 16.98 in 2nd, and up front a meet record 17.09 for Diaz Hernandez leads the way. And that world lead is under threat. He's going to have 2 jumps to really get it. He would love to, I'm sure. Another man who will be looking ahead to that European Championships indoors. And I think a lot of athletes look at this season as a fine opportunity to do a full indoor season as well, because of where the World Championships lie and where they sit right at the end of the summer season in September. It gives them enough time to have a little bit of a down period and get back into training. So, Dos Santos then. Oh, Brazilian just didn't like that. Something shut down on that skip phase, on that mid phase in the triple jump. Had good speed, good start to it, good on the board as well, but then something shutting down a little bit there. So heat one in the women's 60-meter hurdles, certainly you could argue the stronger of the two, with the two European leaders, challengers, I should probably call them. Visser and Baptiste, both of them 1-2 on the European rankings so far. Well, here we are then. Heat two, Pauline Lett. She's ready to go. Are you at home? Aaliyah Armstrong then, the American. She's the 4th ranked American. Shows you how strong their squad is with a 781 life season's best, shall I say. 9th at those US trials in 2024. Selene Krompa. 799. 821 that season's best though. Gonna have to get back beyond that if she wants to grab a spot in the final. Bukurska, the Italian. So he won definitely quite a bit stronger. You think of Tanaka running a national record, 8 flat for 3rd in that one. And so these women will look at this as their chance to get up in that final. You have to run 8 point to do it. So the German Jallo, Letts, Armstrong, Kompa, Koska. 6. So eyes on Armstrong, then the American. She's technically sound and she's fast and she's gliding through this 60-meter hurdles heat. Wow, 793. And well, that's her attempt to show Baptiste and Visser are not going to have it their own way. And that meet record of Visser's of 780 could well be under threat come the final, and Armstrong's going to have a good lane with that run. And there we are, there's those time qualifiers, Tanaka and Morrison, as you'd expect. So that heat's certainly a little bit weaker, but the winner is going to, well, certainly challenge for that final in an hour or so's time. It's a quick turnaround for these women. Well, she was an NCAA champion in 2022. She's adapting to life as a professional. It's very tough, and I use the term professional quite loosely, really, because a lot of athletes on the circuit, unless you have that big money contract and maybe a private investor or private funding and you've got a governing body behind you, which Americans don't have the luxury of a governing body supporting them, it is tough. You've got to find a way in order to get yourself over to Europe and compete on the circuit, and running races like this, competing for prize money, is certainly going to help Aaliyah Armstrong. I'm sure a lot of brands will be looking at athletes like her over the next few months as we go into that next Olympic cycle. This is the track and field equivalent of the transfer window, if you like. A lot of athletes changing brands, some being dropped, some signing big money deals. A lot of moves are happening in this sport, and of course 2025 promises to be a pretty special year with the introduction of Grand Slam track and how that will fare and how that will change the landscape of this sport as we know it. But over here in Europe, these World Tour meets are what it's all about. So then Martinez really will be expecting himself to get up into the top 3 at least. That's better. That is better. 1680 maybe? What do we think? Let's see what it comes in at. And I've got 16:58, so he's been very consistent. 16:55, 62, and now 58. He looked a little frustrated, didn't he, a little bit earlier on in the program, and perhaps that frustration just starting to show. Often it's the way, though, if you're consistent.
Bien joué. Alors lui, il est tout le temps prêt à faire le show.
And there he is, 16:58 in round 5. You can see.
Et puis la voie est libre au triple saut pour Max S, l'Allemand.
So just talking with his coach, and you don't often see coaching staff trackside like that. That is very, very rare. And I'm surprised to see it here in Metz, to be honest with you. But it's a good thing for these athletes. Max Heston, the German, having a wonderful competition. Can he challenge for the win? If he is, he's going to get a meet record to do so. Not quite. Just shy of 17 meters again, you would think. We'll wait and see what this one comes in at. But yeah, silver medalist in 2016 at the World Indoors. So 8 years he's been really at the top of his game. 1691, very consistent. 7th Olympic Games. That was a big performance. But how about this for a stat then? Max Hess has 4 bronze medals at the European Indoor Championships, 2017, 2019, 2021, and 2023. So perhaps, if you're a betting man, you would put some big money on him to pick up bronze for the 5th time in a row at the European Indoor Championships. But he won't see it that way. He'll be acknowledging how close he's come in previous years. And can he now finish on top of the podium? He's going to have to beat Diaz Hernandez, who leads the way in this one. I think Diaz Hernandez has passed. And word getting to me that he has passed in round 5. So he'll have one more jump in round 6. I think he's come here and he'll be pretty happy with the with that meet record jump early on of 17:09. So in the men's 60-meter hurdles, or the junior men's 60-meter hurdles, I should say, we saw them run a heat earlier on, and it was a pretty convincing victory, wasn't it, for the Spaniard. But they go again, these men, getting a good taste for it. Getting out here, well, here he is, Sami Lauida Baba, wearing that Metz uniform as well. Hometown favourite, Lucas Codiner. 7.96 to Belgium. Season's best, these junior athletes getting a taste of the pro circuit. What will be expected of them in, well, some the best part of 12 months. Others, perhaps they've got a few more years to transition out of this age group. No one got near Lauida Baba in the qualifying round, although no one got eliminated from it either. So the same 4 men will run here. Lauida Baba, the Spaniard, will be looking to put on a show for his home crowd, wearing those Metz colours. So here we go then, here goes the Spaniard, he's out first, he's up and over that first hurdle, into 3, over 4, this is dominance, pure dominance. Wow, I think that is another season's best done officially. We'll wait to see what that time comes in at, but that's a big win, and oh, he's enjoying his hurdling. That's what matters, especially at this age. Here we go, 7.75. Season's best for him, that's massive. Codner ran in close actually, much better than in the heats as well, the Belgian. 7.87, so that's a season's best for him. And to put that mark into context, Sasha Zoya, 7.34, the world record back in 2020 for these junior men over the 60 hurdle. What a run that was. But Lauida Baba, I think the consistency is key as well. It's getting used to that heat and final, especially on the same day. So running 2 rounds very close together, but he was technically sound, wasn't he? And once he gets out front, he's able to relax and just execute, getting to that rhythm. He's got no pressure from his left, no pressure from his right. Nice lean on the line as well. And it's a tough transition into those senior ranks. So if you're not really at the pointy end as a junior, it's those development years very, very tough. You get delighted he is, and rightly so. All right, that was the men's 60-meter hurdles, or the junior men's 60-meter hurdles, I should say. The women's 3,000 meters will be next on the track. And I think we are in for a bit of a surprise, a bit of a shock as well. That world lead, by the way, Hailu, 8:24.17. Should say that's a meet record as well from last year, 8:28.46. Now I think that might be under threat. We have the World Junior Silver medalist over the 5,000. She won the Diamond League as well. Anna Machete, the Ethiopian, the young Ethiopian, just 19 years of age. So men's triple jump still taking place. We haven't seen too much of the men's pole vault, so I'll bring you a quick update on that. The men's triple jump. Here goes Kana Turkey into his 6th and final round. 16.50, gets beyond that. I was going to say he's going to challenge for a podium spot, but that's not going to do it. And I wonder if Diaz-Hernandez will bother when he sees the likes of Mac Hess. If he doesn't go beyond 17.09, Diaz-Hernandez has got this competition wrapped up, and I wonder if he'll bother jumping in that 6th round. He certainly skipped the 5th, and he skipped the 2nd or 3rd as well, I believe. It can't. Perhaps a little bit of fatigue just showing there. But a good consistent jump nonetheless. Good on the board. And that's what it's about. It's just about getting out here, competing, getting some jumps underneath you. Same with these women in the 3,000. Although I do say that distance runners are always a little bit more prepared. They're always, you know, many of them will have competitions through the months of November, December, whether it be over the cross country or on the road. Some of them attack the half marathon, some the 5K, some the 10K. But they're always a little bit closer to the peak shape, you could maybe say. And they're going to have to be if they're going to get anywhere near the European standards of 8:48 and that world standard of 8:33. There he goes in Melvin Raffin. 6th and final jump, sits in 3rd. If he's not close to 17 meters, folks, he will not go up into 2nd place either. So here goes the Frenchman. He's put on a fine display. He's going to walk away with the season's best, whatever happens on this last jump. Oh, that's big. That is big. And like you say, in the stadium, they know as well. Bows out. He's frustrated. Was that a red flag? It was. Yep, it's come up on my screen as a foul. That's unfortunate, hence why it's did look like a long jump out there. Okay, the women's 3,000 meters, they're on the track. 14 of them to go in this one. Lisa Rooms, the Belgian national record holder, indoor and out. Valencia 10K. Well, these two, twin sisters, the two Kenyans. Gitonga, Carolyn and Purity Gitonga. Both very, very accomplished, over 3,000 inside 8:40. Wow, that lady. Elena Machete. World Junior Silver medalist that did impress early on last season, did she, when she won that 5,000 out in Xiamen. Winnie Nanyondo is going to pace this one. You can't ask for a better pacemaker. Sub-4, 1,500 meter runner. Cavalli, 4:31 mile in Val de Roy. There's Lisa Rooms that I mentioned as well. Fleury. also in this one. She's second to the French 1500 meter champs last year. Watch out for Digu, 12th at the Great Ethiopian Run. The only reason I say that is because Alamasheti was 19th at the Great Ethiopian Run, and she has some fine marks, you know, some 14:36, 5,000 under her belt. A World Junior silver medalist last year. So the Great Ethiopian Run, although perhaps over here in Europe it might not mean too much, it's hard to really dissect and understand what a good performance is. That is a very, very strong performance. It's usually a good indication. Anything inside the top 20 in that race is usually pretty stellar. So the women's 3,000 off underway here in Metz. We saw a world lead in the 3,000 last weekend from George Mills, 7:27 in France. Can we see another one? A week apart here. It's the women's turn to step up, and we have some super duper talent in order to do that. They settle nicely, and this is the great thing about getting in someone like Nanyondo to pace up at the front, the Ugandan. She's been on the circuit for a very long time. She's been in the position that those women behind her have been. They just want a smooth rhythm. They're learning, they're understanding that the way to really attack these records and qualifying marks over the 3,000, over the 5,000 is just a consistent rhythm. Some controlled splits. And Nanyondo is doing just that. She is locked in, ladies and gentlemen, on those blue lights. What those lights mean, I'm sure we will find out during the race as well. But I can predict the blue one is going to be the world qualifying mark of 8:33. Machete then sits right there in second place, and it's the two twin sisters, Gitonga, Purity and Carolyn. Purity, by the way, third in a Strava, 8:39 just the other day, and Carolyn Wells, sub 31 minutes on the road over 10K. She DNF'd in a Strava. So looking to just build on that, get more of a consistent run here today. Sometimes you do see that from the Kenyan athletes if they're not in the hunt or competing at the level they think they should be. They have a tendency to just peel off the track and just go again, rest their legs, save themselves for another week. Well, Alamasheti, this is a prize, just drifting off Nanyondo at the moment as these women ease through, and they're going to go through their first kilometer in a couple laps' time. Just pan back to this men's triple jump to the right of picture. This is Max Hess. I mentioned he does not go beyond 17 meters. He won't be in with a hunt for the win. He'll have to settle for second place. Is he going to do it? Wow. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This could be something. That could well be a world lead for Max Hess. 17:14's that world lead. I'm going to have to try and bring you that a little bit later on in the program unless it comes up on our graphic here. Nanyondo goes clear. Alamasheti still in second place. She's got the two twin sisters of Gitonga in behind her, and Nanyondo's looking very smooth. I wonder if she's going to be tempted to go the distance here. And Alamasheti just looks to not be up for it today. She's happy just to let this pace drift and just settle, and they are really slowing up at the front. Ignore Nanyondo. She is the pacemaker. But as I say, she may well be tempted to finish. She checks her shoulder and she goes, look, ladies, I'm on the lights. Why is no one coming with me here? And it is fast. I reckon they were through that first kilometer or so, perhaps 2:55. So they're still operating in 8:45 tempo, which you can see. If you're those European athletes, I believe that's Cavalli just sitting there on her own in fourth. They're going to start working back to those three women, because that European qualifying standard of 8:48 is under threat. But the world lead of 8:24 is long gone. Shawe Digu, I'm looking to see where she is as two, because she is definitely someone who should be up with this leading group of women. I mentioned that Great Ethiopian Run performance. That's in November, that, by the way, for a little bit of context. And you can see here, what was just three women, and the pacer is now going to be a whole pack. And the two Kenyans sitting behind Ethiopia, can they reverse the old tail. There we are, a lap of 36. I mean, that's outside 9-minute tempo, and I think the Packer going even slower. I mean, women's 3,000 meter B race was won in just outside 9 minutes earlier on in the program, so that's the level they're sort of operating at. Well, here's Max Hess, and I believe this was a meet record. Going to try and bring you that official result. 17:41 from Max Hess. It's a world lead. It's a phenomenal mark. 30 centimeters beyond the world lead of Jordan Scott. Wow. Just under 40 centimeters beyond the meet record. Diaz Hernandez, who passed in the 5th, will be regretting that decision as he's now going to have to respond, the Italian. Max Hess is in the driving seat. You look at the likes of Filamani. Diaz Hernandez comes big as well with 17:31. It's all going on in the men's triple jump. Meanwhile, Nanyondo is having an easy ride up at the front here. She's looking very, very smooth. And to say the least, I mentioned she might be tempted. Okay, so green wave light 8:33, the red wave light 8:38. They are way into the distance, ladies and gentlemen. We need to reference on what this white wave light is and the sort of tempo they're moving at. We're going to find out as they come round. It'll be 2K run the next time they come through the start. So I think they're going to be a clip inside 6 minutes. So perhaps in that 8:50 territory for these women, which is good. Very, very good for some of the Europeans within this race. They're looking at 8:48 for that European qualifying mark. So there's Diaz Hernandez. He takes off. 5:53 then at 2K. So, yeah. They're going to have to just maintain that effort, lift it a little bit over this last kilometer, and they will be battling. And I believe this is Agate Korne of Latvia, who's just stepping into the lead now, putting her foot on the gas, just drifting round. Looking very good. This is a season opener. She did go to Paris Olympic Games, got knocked out in the heats there in the 5,000, but 2 times European under-20 champion, the youngster, and looking very, very smooth up front. That was a quicker lap. Is that another 36 there? So they're just starting to rally. Ala Machete, this is a bizarre performance from her. You just never know what you're going to get. Lisa Rooms is looking to just move around on the outside and make her bid. They're into the final K. They're going to be into the final 600. As Rooms just cutting things up. And what on earth has gone on in this 3,000? It's been bizarre. Ala Machete meant business through the first K. The Katunga twins went with her. But now it's all changes. We just familiarise ourselves with those triple jump results. Max Hess, Andy Diaz Hernandez, Melvin Raffin. Those are your top 3. All 3 of them right up there on the world list. Almeida de Santos disappointingly down in 6th place. So here we go, 500 meters to run. The women's 3,000 here in Metz. Gitonga, Carolyn, and Purity. Those are the 2 twins there in 3rd and 4th. Will they threaten? Ala Machete, the Ethiopian, the world junior silver medalist. Coming out the back, she's a 14:36 5,000 meter runner. She is by far and away on paper one of the best, but she is inconsistent. We don't often see her at her best. We see flashes of brilliance. And she's going to have to battle over this last 400 if she's going to get on terms with these women. That European qualifying mark of 8:48, Lisa Roms wants it. The Belgian national record holder, indoor and out. Can she improve on that mark? 8:47.98 is a lifetime best. It's just inside. Well, here we are. Here goes the Katonga twins. Ala Machete in 3rd as well. You expect her to be able to battle Ethiopia and Kenya. It's the old tale. Who outkicks who? The Ethiopians, as history goes, have always been stronger. But look at Katonga. Stretching clear, looking very, very smooth. 3rd in Ostrava a few days ago. 8:39 for a season's best there. And she's going to back it up here in Metz, ladies and gentlemen. Toe for toe. They train together. They put the miles in together. And they win together. 8:45. What a special moment for those 2. 1-2 across the line. And they really put it to bed, didn't they? Oh, it's fantastic. Really special from the pair of them. And they won't mind who came out on top. Twins are often just happy for each other, aren't they? They'll share the spoils, I'm sure of that. But it was a great kick, and in the end, oh, it's going to be so close. Lisa Rooms, did she nip inside that 8:48 European qualifying standard? But, yeah, Gottinga and Ala Machete there, settling for third. And I believe it was Ludovica Carvalli there in third place. And getting quite close to her lifetime best. So, Caroline Katonga was the winner. To clarify, 8:45.11. Season's best, flips DNF in Ostrava, comes back here for the win. And, well, Purity Katonga, who got the bronze in Ostrava. Second for her, so those two, 8:45.11 to 8:45.32. Great running and a funny old race. Sometimes when we see a lineup like that, we expect fireworks. And we're getting greedy, aren't we? As a fan base in this sport, we want to see world leads, we want to see national records, we want to see meet records, we want it all. We're a greedy bunch. But these athletes really have set the benchmark over the last couple of years. Well, here's the results in Cavalli. Fantastic from her. Season's best, 8:47. Inside that standard. Lisa Rooms improves on that national record of hers, 8:47. And Guila, 8:48. And a less 8:50 as well. That's tough for April Guila. Just outside that European standard, however. She'll have another crack. She'll have the national championships to negotiate, and perhaps her world ranking is kind enough to get her in there. Well, men's triple jump, over and done with. We saw some fantastic results from that. We saw two men go beyond the current world lead to European men as well. So that championship in Apeldoorn bubbling away nicely. Well, that's unfortunate for Keenan Daniel, 5:60. Bows out to competition. The American, there's a few of them over. And they've been on the circuit. They're in Valderoy last weekend. Strava midweek as well. They've been everywhere. Really are maximizing their time here in Europe. Well, Keaton with a 5:82. Won't be too disappointed with that. He'll know it's early days in 2025. And to be honest, the men's pole vault hasn't really got going yet. And I mean, as you'd expect, we're very early February, but you know, the indoor season is short but sweet, and you don't have much time to improve on your marks. So someone like Menno Vloon, he did come out fully firing. He's had two failures though at 5:60. Currently fifth in the world. Lifetime best at 5:96. That was in 2021. 13 times Dutch champion. He's been working on his speed this indoor campaign. We've seen him run over 60 meters. Dipping inside that 8-second barrier as well, so it's been very impressive. Here he goes. Oh, comfortably clear. Wow. 5:60, and you're looking at that thinking, this man's got a 5:80 in his locker. He really has. He just needs to replicate that. And you almost beg the question, well, why were you struggling? Two failures at 5:60. You wouldn't have guessed it with that jump. Gotta love those orange socks. Wearing those Dutch colors.
Au départ, la finale C du 400 mètres féminin.
Good clearance of Loon, and he'll begin to put the pressure on now. Ernest Obiena passed at 560, first time clearance at 550. Chris Nielsen has 535, 550, 560, all first time clearances. So enjoying his jumping, his vaulting, shall I say, is Chris Nielsen. He's happy to open up his campaigns earlier, beginning as well. All right then. The women's 400 meters. Femke Bowles' meet record isn't under threat. Can her training partner take it down? Well, there's Seri. Count for her in the middle, but all eyes on Lieke Klaver. It really is. Lifetime best of 50.1 indoors, 50.9. That's season's best. She's the world leader with that mark. Nida Berger, 52.93, 53.5. That's season's best on the inside. I think a lot in this field are just going to have to fight for the minor places. When you look at Klaver on the outside, she gets out hard and she holds it. She is doubling back for the 200, but doing the double in the right way. You would hate to do a 400 after a 200. So way to go in this women's 400. We have 3 races ahead of us. This is race 1 of 3, and all eyes on the outside. That's the world leader, Lieke Klaver. Multiple Olympic medalist now. She is a key member of that 4x4 Dutch squad, whether it's in a mixed relay setting or in just the women's setting as well. Klaver through this first 200 then, 24-0. She continues to pile it on. I said she likes to get out hard, and she holds it. This is where she's strong. Trains under the guidance with Femke Bol in the same training group. Neither of them really falter over that last 50, that last 200. Klaver's going to come under threat, though. Camille Seri in second is looking very, very strong. But she's not going to get near Klaver. The world leader demonstrating why she's currently the best. 51.7. Did enough. And I wonder if the 200 meters was on her mind at all. We'll double back and practice that championship racing. Lots of races in as many days. Don't get many hours of recovery in a championship. No doubt she'll be in the 4x4 for that Dutch quartet. Oh, and there's Lieke Klaver. 51.70. So to be fair, hold it together pretty reasonably. An impressive run from Seri there in second. It really was. It's going to be a big season's best for her. 52.44 officially, and Van der Scoot as well. 52.56. That's woman in third. And that's a lifetime best. So there we are. There's confirmation of that women's 400. It says final C. Tough to go a bundle on that, to be honest, because we're going to see some strong athletes in the next race as well. One of the Nielsens, but this women's 400, just like the men's, kind of just being seeded into 3 races, as opposed with the favorite being on that outside lane, giving these favorites an opportunity to really attack it and have a clear run up at the front, as opposed to a head-to-head duel. In many ways, it's great for the athletes. In others, it's a bit of a shame. I would have loved to see, Levi Nielsen go up against Lieke Klaver, especially in that 400 just then. Seri in the same race. So a weird call for me, but it means we get to see 3 very, very competitive 400s nonetheless. Men's pole vault, here goes Menno Bloom. 570 first attempt. I think we're going to have 3 men battling around that 585, 90 mark. We may even see them go further. Menno Bloom, yes. Oh, is the mark going to stay on? Yes, it is. I mean, he had the height. Didn't quite have the depth, did he? Had it easy. I mean, the 560 looked phenomenal. He really did clear that comfortably. 570. Clears that pretty easily as well. Bini goes clear as well. South American national record holder. Very strong. Okay, the women's 400-meter B final. You can see Nielsen. She lines up in this one. Fourth of those World Indoor Championships last year. National record holder in both the 4x4 and the mix, just like Klava. Similar credentials. Olympic bronze medalist as well. So what can she do? Gets that indoor campaign over 2 laps underway. She'll go on the outside. She'll have a tough battle. And Amandine Brossier. She too is the national record holder in the 4x4 and that mixed relay. A lot of athletes able to hold that national record in the mixed relay. Of course, it is a new event. If you're on that 4x4 quartet, chances are you're a national record holder. Van Leur, 53.30. A chance for her to live with this field, and she's going to be able to challenge. She really is for a lifetime best if she can hang tough out there. Noyua on the inside, Abigail Noyua. To the women's 400, race 2 of 3. So Lika Klava around a very impressive 51 mid. That's the mark that Nielsen's going to look at to be the overall winner here in Metz. So away they go, and clean start from all, evenly matched, aren't they? And this is one of the problems with athletics. They're all wearing virtually the same uniform out there. Makes it difficult for us watching it at home. But Brossier straight up on Nielsen. This one is a lot closer than that previous one. Gubelman as well of Switzerland, but Nielsen's going to use that bank to drive off, lead into the first 200, or is she? She's just going to back off a little bit and run wide. Brossier holds the inside. Pleased to see that they haven't been sort of scrapping at that point and really being thrown off their rhythm. Into the final bend then, it's France beat Great Britain and Northern Ireland in second. Nielsen versus Brossier. Can Brossier hang on? She's got to hold that inside. She's got to make Nielsen run wide. She's going to do just that. Has Nielsen got enough strength? Yes, she has. She's going to come through and take it. Watch the clock. Oof. Close enough. 51.90. Impressive. Impressive, especially when you look at it. If you want to nitpick it, she did have to go wide through that bottom bend and had to work perhaps a little bit too much at 200 just to threaten for the lead. But Brossier's effort, where she was insistent on getting the lead through that opening 200, perhaps that did cost her in the end, and perhaps just expended a little bit too much energy. You are just treading such a fine line when it comes to the 400. And much harder to block out those around you like they get to do outdoors and execute your own race, because it is about positioning. It can cost you, and that's why we see a lot of surprise results when it comes to the indoor 400. But here you are then, Nielsen at this stage, edging clear. Brossier just decided, I'm going to put my foot on the gas, and I wonder if that move just cost her a little bit. Nielsen was happy just to sit on the edge, sit on the shoulder, but did have to run wide. Again, when you're breaking this race down, it's fine margins, but was able to slingshot down the home straight, put enough pressure on Brossier at that point, and just edge clear. And actually, she looked like she had a little bit more running left, did Nielsen. So great mark for her, and that European Championship at 52.10, that's boxed off. That world standard of 51.0 though. Whew. That is some running. Nice season's best for Brossier. All athletes being rewarded with a good result there, to be honest, because in behind Brossier and Nielsen was Gubelman 52.92 for a lifetime best, and Van Leur 53.23 lifetime best. All right, Ben Brody still in the competition. Still vaulting incredibly well. 2 failures at 570. Interestingly enough, ladies and gentlemen, an update for you. Nielsen, that man to the right of picture, World leader at 6:01, 2 failures at 5:70. He won't be concerned, but pressure's going to be on him. Brodus has to go clear. He's going to stay in here and compete. Oh! Well, the problem with that is cleared 550. Passed at 560. And then failure at 570. So dependent on Nielsen. He could have finished a little bit higher up the pecking order. So fantastic running from Brossier. There we are, top French performer. So we are waiting for Chris Nielsen to take to the runway. Tim and Brodus, who are battling hard to stay in the competition. Brodus now out at 570, so his day is done. Nielsen has one more attempt left as well, the world leader, to stay in it. Meanwhile, the women's 400 meters is the final race of 3, being named the A final, however. Charlene Maudsley, well, what a season she had in 2024. The Northern Irish athlete, the Irish athlete, apologies, 50.71, that lifetime best. She did some special things on that Irish relay team and individually. Maraval on the inside of her. So Maudsley will certainly have that that European standard of 52.10 on her mind. That's what she's going to have to box off here today. She'll be all business in order to do so. And build on an Irish 400 meter running is just in a fantastic spot right now. Maudsley goes on the outside. 51.69, season's best. Well, there we go then. Maudsley disqualified last year at those World Indoor Championships. She's going to want to change that in 2025. She'll have another hit. She's looking very, very good on the outside. That's a nice lead she's got. And as I mentioned, it's a little bit disappointing, I guess, as us track and field fans, not to see the likes of Maudsley, Klaver, and Nielsen all go head-to-head. They're all in different races, but this is why. So they can have a clean run. That's quick through that opening 200. Quicker than Klaver, if you remember. And she went on to run 51.7. So Maudsley, who's already done that this year, is looking to threaten for something in that region. Boy, is she looking smooth round this final bend. Those battling in behind her, but it's all Charlene Maudsley at this stage. World lead, 50.92. Worth keeping an eye on that. And the Irish woman continues to impress. Building another Olympic cycle. Takes this 51.88. Unofficially, of course. Fantastic from her, and it's just another consistent 51-point clocking. And that's what you need. You need to be able to do that very, very consistently if you're going to negotiate those rounds and then put yourself in the hunt. Come the World Indoors, come the European Indoors. But it was a shame we didn't get all three of those women to race against each other. I mean, look how close they were. Here's Maudsley running 51.86. Nielsen running 51.88 and Klaver running 51.70. Maraval there in second, 52.55. You've got to say, three athletes, all world class, all pushing the limits in their event. Wouldn't it be special for them to get a little bit of a taste of what's to come in a few weeks at those European Indoors and World Indoors? However, fast times nonetheless. Morty, it's good to see form not really falling apart in that last, 50 or so. Very, very strong indeed. Well, there you are, 52-55. Marval. Good running from her in second. Salberg in third. Montoya. Foley Ronso and Husler complete the lineup. So that is your women's 400 complete. Race 3 of 3 done. We've got those 60-meter finals to come for the 1500-meter women's final. Manevloon, 580. Doable, though. Doable, and I think he knows it. They take a lot of information in, do pole vaulters. They learn a lot from every vault. You know, they kind of watch back, and this is where the video analysis, having a coach trackside with you, you know, kind of, they'll feel a certain way when they go up there. Sometimes to get that external feedback is quite important as well. And he'll know how much depth he needs to just find on that next jump. Whether to just apply a little bit more speed, be a little more aggressive through the plant phase. Arch himself a little better up over that bar. So there's Nielsen. And a surprise for us was him bowing out at 570, texting away there, probably texting his coach to say it didn't quite go to plan. But when you're the world leader, and he's competed quite a lot over the last couple of weeks, he really has, 3 or 4 competitions in about 14 days. He's tested his body and perhaps just a little bit of fatigue starting to show for Nielsen. Well, here's the women's 60 up next, and interestingly enough, we got an A and a B final. And they did actually run qualification. So we'll be introduced to these athletes. Here we are in Luma Barmada. She goes in lane 1, where she was for a heat, by the way, interestingly enough. .764. Nanich. 33. When you look at lifetime best, there is nothing to split this field. Look at this. Mont as well, 734. Remlinga, 733. Van Hunsten, 731. Gang on the outside, 770. So Rimlinger, bit of a nervy heat, wasn't it? She really did sort of fumble out of the blocks. Got given a green card, though. Got given a second chance. Couldn't capitalize on it, though. Couldn't make that final. Unistin. Dutch sprinter looking to just get amongst their domestic ranks and start to compete for those national titles. And Camilla Guillen on the outside. So if you go to the form book, Rimlinger really has been racing pretty well this season. And perhaps a little bit of a shock not to see her in that final. Clearly a little bit nervous and in the heats. Have a false start, left her hesitant, however, still had a very good start on the second attempt, so expect her to get out well. Mont in 3 on the inside of her, also one to watch. And Tinanich in 2. So all 5 of these women get out well. Rimlinger looks to just get to the front now. Closing fast was Hunistin. Rimlinger takes it, 7:33. Unofficial lifetime best. Let's see what that comes in at, and that's more like it. You wish you had that level of performance. There we are, 7:31 lifetime best for Rimlinger. You wish he had that. In the heats. However, good running. Van Huniston, wow. That last 30 was something. You make that a 70-meter race, an 80-meter race, 90, 100-meter race. Van Huniston is coming away with it. Watch this. Wimlinger goes clear. 20 to 40. Starts to dominate. And then Huniston, when she gets rolling, whew, frightening. Second, just. And it is good that, we see a lot of meets over the last couple weeks that have provided A and B finals. They're just giving these women and men as much opportunities, just compete, just get their legs under them. And there we are. And Huniston there, equal season's best for her, 7:36, not far off. She too would have had to run a lifetime best if she was going to win this one against Rimlinger. 7:31, her best. And Mont there in third. So there you go. That was a women's 60B final. All eyes on this A final, really. And from around the world, I'm sure they'll be paying close attention because we have some of the very best in that world list right now. Del Ponte, former European indoor champion. Tori Lewis, national record holder. Oceania under 20 record holder. Phenomenal. Mano Vloon sets himself pole vault into the business end of the competition. He's capable of winning this, is Vloon. He really is. If it all clicks, Nielsen, the big hitter, already out. And that's something that I think Mondo, not only is he just so impressive in the way that, it's world record after world record, but he's just a consistent winner. He's an absolute killer. And he doesn't tend to have these slip-ups that we see. He just, every competition he does, he goes there and he wins and he gets himself up for it. Quite frankly, he loves pole vaulting at the end of the day. And look, you have to. They all do. However, consistency wins. Here we go. Menno Vloon, third and final attempt at 580. Ernest Obiena is going to do something special today. He's had 2 jumps, 2 first-time clearances at 550 and 570. He is on fire. Menno Vloon to live with Obiena. Oh, well, it would have been an unorthodox way to get up over the bar. He almost executed it, I must say. Vloon's out, and it's all Obiena now. Well, the women's 60, Vandenberg. Mabel Akande did great to make this final, the youngster from Great Britain. Here, another youngster in, Tori Lewis. Just 20 years of age, the Australian ran another national record, 7:14. 29 indoors. Here we are, Del Ponte. She's the one we're looking at to really threaten Lewis perhaps for the victory here. Bishops as well. Had a good start. She's going to have to try and live with these women out there. And your Heiss right on the outside. So Vandenberg, Akande, Lewis, Del Ponte, Bishops, and your Heiss. Lewis already holds that national record in the 100 of 11.1. She'll be looking to break that 11-second barrier, come outdoors surely. For now, all eyes. Who's going to be a world indoor champion in 2025? This will give us a good indication. Oh, Lewis gets away well, doesn't she? When she's out in front, she's going to be tough to come back to. Del Ponte's doing her very best. It's going to be the Aussie. It's going to be Lewis. Wow. 7:21. She goes quicker than the heat once again. Just gets better and better and better, Tori Lewis. And what's scary is she's learning how to win, folks. She really is. Beating some good opposition there in the likes of Del Ponte, Bishops, Akande with his season's best. Look what it's taking these women to get close to this woman. Down under, if you're watching, you have got a superstar. They'll know that. Her performance at the World Under-20 Championships in 2024 was special. Semi-finalist at the Olympic Games. She's had her taste on the global stage. And now you look at that next cycle. And what can she do? Did well. She was coming under pressure from Del Ponte. On the inside of her, Akande was close, but wasn't going to cause her any problems, was she? And just managed to stay relaxed. And I mentioned in the heat, when you get a 200-meter runner like that out front with a good start, she's going to be tough to come back to. She really is. There you are, it's Tori Lewis. For the win, Del Ponte there in second. Van der Vieken, 7:07 for that world lead. Well, this man is having a fantastic afternoon, Obiena. Goodness me. Two volts, two big clearances. He is just flying through. Man from the Philippines.
Alors on l'a pas vu à 5,81. Il a attendu 5,85, ce sera la prochaine barre. Quoi qu'il arrive, là, pour gagner. Mais le but du jeu, c'est de se rapprocher au plus du record. S'il franchissait 5,85, il est une évidence qu'il a tenté derrière le record du meeting avec 10 cm de plus.
So setting himself, he's already got the victory here, Ernest Obiena, but he's going to have a look at the top list. I mentioned before, only 3 men have gone clear of 585 in 2025 already, so he wants to be now one of those. 6 meters, his lifetime best. Can he potentially threaten that? The way he's been vaulting, he's been looking very, very good. The area and national record holder, 4th at Olympic Games in 2024. That's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow when you come so close. Here he goes, 585. He knows what this is going to mean. Nope. Not this time. And interestingly enough, him and Chris Nielsen swapping medals at the World Championships in 2022 and 2023. Obiena getting a 3rd and 2nd. Nielsen getting a 2nd and 3rd on alternate years. And both of those performing very well. All right. Women's 1,500 meters, and that lady, Guillermo, Agatha Guillermo, national record after national record. She got it in a mile just last week in Val d'Oise. 4:25 there. She didn't win, but it was a good clocking. 3rd at those European Championships. Katie Snowden, one to look out for there. The Spaniard Marquez, also Katie Snowden opening up her season here at Brit. It's a stacked field, it really is. Got Berhe, just 18 years old, the World Junior Champion in 2024, the African 1,500 meter champion. The Ethiopian is one to watch, ran 3:59 last summer. But just a complete unknown, really. What are we going to see? Vessel there. Another athlete to look out for. Marquez, by the way, 25 years, ran a good 3,000 earlier, 8:45 the Spaniard. She won in Miramar. 11th in the Olympic Games final after going through the repechage round. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the women's 1,500 underway. Meeting record, 4:10 by Asefa. That was way back in 2010, 15 years ago. Do you know what? That's definitely going to be under threat. 1,500 running was not in the place it is now. Those were the days when 4:05 might have qualified you for Olympic Games. And goodness me, it doesn't even get you in a national final. especially in nations like France, Great Britain, and stuff like that. So that European qualifying mark, by the way, 4:08. So they'd have to, and that puts that meet record into perspective, doesn't it? That's not even going to qualify you for a European Championships. The World Championship qualifying mark, 4:03.00. And I think that's what an athlete like Guillermo is going to go for. Can I box that off? I know I'm good enough. I've been down to 3:56 at my very best. Holds 4 national records, over 2,000 as well. Has great strength with the mile indoors and out, the 1,500 indoors and out. Right, what can she do here? She's sitting in second place. Keep an eye on those wave lights. Look, 4:04. That gives the athletes room to really kick off of that. That red wave light at 4:10. Perhaps one eye on the meet record. Maureen Costa is also another athlete to look out for. 5,000 meter runner by trade, but has run 3:59 back in 2015. Can you believe it? And 10 times national champion, Olympian over the 5,000. Katie Snowden looking smooth there in 4th in the race, just in behind Guillermo in 2nd. But it is Burhi, the Ethiopian, who sits right in behind that pacemaker. So there is no change in this women's 1,500, and rightly so. At this sort of tempo, you just want to stay smooth. As I say that, Guillermo looks to move round, get herself up in a second. She wants to be right on the heels of the pacemaker. Sense things slowing, but as we see on the right of picture, Ernest Obiena just struggling once again with 5:85. And Guillermo now just fighting to go round the pacemaker. She really probably just needs to pull off at this stage. Perhaps can't find a line on the outside to peel off. And Guillermo's going to take things up. Those lights are just moving away from these women. This is the business end. Well, they're going to be over through the 1,000. 3 laps to run here. And over through the 1,000 on the far side. That'll be 500 to go. That will give us indication what sort of mark they're on for. 2:40s bang on that 4-minute tempo. Just outside of that is going to see them touch and go with that qualifying mark for the European Championships. And Guillermo doing what she does best, applying some pressure up at the front, stringing this race out. She's got a whole queue of women behind her. Marquez, Snowden, and of course Burhi, the Ethiopian, the 18-year-old who was leading up until this point. And I wonder if Guillermo, the competitor in her, will want to win here today. However, she'll know, I need to box off these standards. 4:03 being the world standard, 4:08 being the European standard. I just need to get them ticked because that's my goals for 2025. Then you go have fun at the championship. Then you focus on winning races. But this is an athlete who has so much confidence right now. What she did in Paris last year was special. 3:56 in the semi-final. But look at this. The youngster does not care. Burhi to the front. 200 to run. That was a 32 lap. They're going to need more. They're going to need a lot more if they're going to get that world standard. Burhi perhaps not too fussed about that. Talk of winning. This lady was a world junior champion in 2024. She was an African champion that same year. And Ethiopia, out of all the talent they've had over 1,500, they may well have another one. Burhi takes it here. Guillermo holding on. 4:04. A modest run from these women when we compare it to what they can do outdoors. But Guillermo perhaps a little fatigued from last weekend, but a European standard nonetheless. And Burhi just eases clear. It's a meet record in 4:04. I mentioned that meet record of 4:10. It had to go, really. That was low-hanging fruit. It really was. Guillermo, Marquez holding on, and you're looking at some very, very accomplished Europeans. I mean, that could well be a few of the athletes deciding those medals come Appledorn. But there she is, putting on a display for a home crowd, and perhaps a little part of her felt obliged to go to the front and really stretch things out and keep it honest. Bearing in mind she was doing it in front of this crowd. And we may well hear from her track side. We'll keep an eye on what have we got to come, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the 60-meter hurdles for the women's final is up next, followed by the men's, and then we have the 800 women, the 3,000 men. 800 men and a couple 200-meter races before crowning off the evening with the 600. So we still have a lot of action. Here she is.
On se retrouve en compagnie d'Agathe Guimau qui veut tout casser, elle casse tout. Excusez-moi. Ouais, c'est moi qui tousse, j'en peux plus, moi. Agathe Guimau, s'il vous plaît, aujourd'hui, qui veut tout casser, elle casse tout depuis 2 ans. C'est tout simplement énorme. Agathe, on t'a vu relancer. À un moment donné, je te jure, on y a cru, toi aussi, bien sûr.
Ouais, bien sûr que j'y ai cru. Bah, là, j'ai pas réussi à casser le record de France, mais ça ne serait tardé. C'est mon 2e, on va dire 1500 de la saison. Je laisse le monsieur sauter. Ah. Et,
tu aurais pu commenter en direct.
Oui, parce que j'ai fait de la perche. Hein. Non, mais je voulais juste remercier le public, c'était top. Voilà, moi aussi j'ai cru, j'ai vu la lumière, j'ai pris des risques. Et puis ça payera un jour, voilà.
Ouais, mais ça a déjà payé, Agathe.
Oui, c'est un bon chrono. J'étais vraiment actrice de ma course et je pense que c'est ça qui est important. Aujourd'hui, j'avais envie d'aller prendre des risques, de m'accrocher à cette lumière verte. Peut-être finir devant, mais ça sera peut-être pour jeudi prochain à Liévin, je recours. Et puis au championnat de France, championnat d'Europe, enfin bref, c'est le début de la saison, quoi.
C'est cool, Metz.
Ah ouais, j'adore, franchement, merci beaucoup. Vous êtes super sympa. Moi, je viens de l'Ouest, mais l'Est, vous êtes sympa.
Merci. Agathe Guillemot, s'il vous plaît.
Well, slowly becoming the poster girl of France, isn't she? National record after national record. She's one of the very, very best to ever take to the 3 3/4 lap distance. And, of course, the mile going from strength to strength. And there you are. There's the fight. Look, she wasn't going to let that go on home soil. God, no. But Berhe edges clear, and that was impressive from the Ethiopian. And what more are we going to see from her? So there's the results for you. Katie Snowden, nice season opener for her, 4:06. Costa as well, 5,000 runner. That's strong. Jodie McCann there in 6th. But perhaps with this field, we expected a little bit more. I am a harsh critic. And I think, you know, these athletes just keep delivering unbelievable results year on year on year. We are getting greedy as track fans. We really are. And there's nothing better than seeing a good race out there on the track. Well, there's those pole vault results then. There's Van Obiena, who looked so good. 550, 560. He just looked fantastic. Cleared 570 as well, first time out. However, attempting 585, couldn't go clear. And perhaps that's the curse mark of 2025, as only 3 men have. Chris Nielsen, that was the surprise though, wasn't it? Down there, down the pile, the world leader was 601. Not even going clear at 570. So, folks, we have some hurdle action up next. Those 2 women finals are next on the track. 3 minutes past 5 local time, and then around about 10 past 5 will be that A final. And then, of course, after that, the men's 60-meter hurdles before that women's 800-meter final, which will be next. And Charlotte Pizzo for France will go in that. Candice Unin as well. You can see them actually just warming up trackside, getting in those final strides. Gemma Ricci is in the arena as well as Daguma. So the 2 from last year's World Indoor Championships who were 1-2, Daguma was the victor there. Gemma Ricci, the silver medalist, they are back. And they are going to do battle indoors for, of course, the first time since that World Indoor Championships in March. That was the last of the indoor action for 2024 before building to that very exciting Olympic year. And it is a unique time. We don't often have World Indoor Championships back-to-back like this. However, with Nanjing postponed, of course, 2020, that COVID year was supposed to be held. Where it's finally come around, and they're going to manage to put it on in 2025, which makes for a busy March. And, you know, those who are fortunate enough to compete at the Europeans and then go on to the Worlds, only the very, very best will be able to do that. Small fields at both, really, those numbers that can compete at the European Indoor Championships and World Indoor Championships shrinking all the time, especially in the field events, just 12. Look at the pole vault and triple jump and events like that, just 12 athletes. So those standards getting harder and harder and harder. So were perhaps slightly delayed, but it certainly looks like those 60-meter hurdlers in the finals are on the line. And there you are then. Here's the lineup. B final. Set to go. All right, Jallo on the inside. 8:17. The lifetime best was a solid heat from her, but just couldn't quite do enough. So, German, French, German, French. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have a Cyprian athlete on the outside, Giorgio. So Pauline Lett then. Ready to rock and roll. Franziska Schützer of Germany, and it's going to be tight. I mean, there's not much between these women. However, this lady here, although the season's best doesn't say too much, she has been there, a sub-8 second runner, and the only one in the field to do so. She's been to the level needed to win this race here this afternoon. Here at the meeting in Metz, this is the women's 60-meter hurdles B final. Howard Jallo, Pauline Letts, Franziska Schuster, Solin Kompa, and Daphne Giorgio on the outside. So away they go, then that's good from Schuster. Up over that's the second hurdle, but it's Kompa who's going to start to dominate, is she? Schuster comes back. Oh, 8:16. How about it? Franziska Schuster, the German. Look to just lose it. Over that second hurdle, you think Kompa's got the momentum. She's starting to edge clear. Schuster shut the door and said, no, thank you, and then pulled away. That was an impressive last couple flights from Franziska Schuster. Just being congratulated by her teammate, Jallo. Those women very, very smooth out there. And I think Schuster is certainly one you look at and she'll be disappointed not to have made that final. Well, here's a rerun then. Let's have a look. At this stage, you see Kompa gets out well. Schuster, was she first arrived? No, it definitely looked like Kompa, who just leads at this point, but then 4 and 5, Schuster comes into her own, and it's a powerful finish across the line. So just a bit rocky, and she'll work on that. She'll need to going into those German national championships if she's going to want to compete there and really get amongst, you know, a spot in the final and perhaps amongst the medals. And Solin Kompa, I mean, the state of French hurdling is very, very strong at the moment. It always has been. Always been a nation spoiled for sprint hurdlers, especially on that men's side too. So there you are then, 8:14. Let's see how that matches up come the final, where we do have Nadine Visser, Aaliyah Armstrong, Letitia Baptiste. Oh, it's a mouth-watering final. Really is. Yumi Tanaka, who set a national record in the heats. She'll go in that final, and it took a low 8-second clocking to get in there. So are we going to see the lights dimmed? Are we going to see these women introduced in a special manner? Here in Metz, close, intimate arena, a capacity just over 1,000 or so, but they're right on the track, right up and close with these athletes. They can virtually touch them around that top bend. Lean out and reach them. So here we are, a special moment for the Metz Athletic Club. Signing off some more stars in 2025. It is a meeting that just continues to impress, and it always has some super athletes compete here, and there's always some good times that come out of this on the world stage. Well, there's Aaliyah Armstrong, the American, 4th ranked American to date. in 2025, fourth at those World Championships in 2022. That was the same year she became an NCAA champion. However, the ruthlessness of the hurdles over in the States meant she didn't qualify for that Paris Olympic Games. Nothing's a given. The turnover of athletes they have in America in the hurdles is special. There is a new face almost every single year, it feels like, competing in the hurdles. It really is their event. Letitia Baptiste, though, boy, oh boy, did she look impressive in the heats. She got one up on Nadine Visser, who will be to the left of her. But let's see who's right on the inside. Angeliska Vakuska. She goes in one. The world of feature here. Yumi Tanaka then into Japanese record. Nadine Visser. She's looked fantastic all season, however, until today. Perhaps the first sign of a chink in her armor. Baptiste got one up on her in the heat. She's going to need to do that again. Aaliyah Armstrong was very, very smooth herself. It's going to be between those three. You'd think Crystal Morrison on the outside. Capable of getting amongst it. However, it wasn't as impressive as the heats as Armstrong, Baptiste, and Visser. Verdska, Tanaka, Visser, Baptiste, Armstrong, and Morrison. Your women's 60-meter hurdles final here in Metz. Perhaps the last time many will compete pre their national championships. So away they go. Oh, it's a sloppy start from Baptiste. Has that cost her? Armstrong looking very smooth. And Visser. Oh, it's Armstrong on the line. I queued up a Visser victory, but Armstrong snatches it there with the lead. There you have it, the women's 60-meter hurdles, and Baptiste, as good as her heat was, she just could not replicate. And this sport is about consistency, not just in training, but racing as well. And Armstrong, the American, spoils the party here. She really does, with Baptiste, the Frenchwoman. High hopes for her after that heat to come and conquer. But Visser in second, edges clear, and Baptiste in third. And Aaliyah Armstrong, 7:81, ladies and gentlemen. It's almost a meet record, and it's very, very close to Cartwright's world lead. And I think she's overwhelmed. She's stunned. She's overwhelmed. I think she is delighted with that performance. Here you are. It was a great start from her, and I think that really did, did it put Baptiste off, the fact that she couldn't get out the blocks quick enough, but she never got to it, did she, Baptiste? Never recovered. At this stage, though, over this fifth one, I'm thinking Visser's got this, but Armstrong's last couple meters there did the damage. Well, super running. It was a Lightning Women's 60 hurdles final, and it's over in a flash. Over like that. All the build-up to these events, and it is over and done with in less than 8 seconds. 7:81, equal lifetime best for Armstrong. Visser 7:84, continues to be consistent in 2025, and Baptiste 7:94. So those two 1-to-1 on the head-to-head here in Metz. Tanaka there in fourth. Good running from her. And honestly, I think Armstrong is absolutely overwhelmed with that. I think she is delighted. She's back. And I mentioned earlier how it is tough for athletes, especially when they come out of collegiate ranks. They have all the support network in the world at their disposal. And then when they turn to a professional, it almost gets harder. You'd think you'd have access to more resource, better coaching, etc. But no, it gets more difficult for them. And, an athlete who was an NCAA champion, went on to just miss out on the medals at the World Championships in Eugene in 2022. Would have had high hopes for the next couple years. However, with the depth of US hurdling, unfortunately couldn't qualify for that World Championships in 2023 or the Olympic Games in 2024. But that will now, it will certainly put her in contention to compete at the World Indoor Championships in Nanjing. You would have thought that is her goal. So the men's 60 hurdles will be next. You can see those women in the 800 final just looking poised to attack 4 laps of the track. We have the defending world indoor champion in Daguma, and we have the defending world indoor silver medalist in Riki. Those two to go head to head here in Metz. The pair of them in their seasons underway. And the pair of them, some of the best in the world, indoors and outdoors, over the 800. But those men just warming up, and of course we have Pascal Martinot-Lagarde to look forward to, the French legend when it comes to the hurdling. And I mentioned Lemaitre and the power he had to inspire a nation ahead of those Olympic Games through the, the early days of 2016 when the bid was awarded to Paris, and right up until that 2020, these guys were at the pinnacle. They were at the height of French athletics in that era. Pascal Martinot-Lagarde was certainly that. He wasn't just at the height of French athletics, he was the height of world athletics. Medalist on the global stage, multiple European medalists as well. And of course, the French national record holder, 12:95 outdoors over the high hurdles. What a run that was. So here we go. On the inside then, Van Konverberg, 7:83, that lifetime best. He's getting closer and closer to it. He's starting to peak, this man, the Belgian. He was 7th, by the way, in Val d'Reuil last weekend. Not an amazing result for him. Job Gertz, look out for him. And 2 times Dutch champion Pascal Martinot-Lagarde needs no introduction, the former world indoor medalist Romain Lecour. He's been looking very strong, also competing out in Val d'Reuil. Ishikawa, Japanese athlete, 3rd at the Asian Games over the 60 hurdles last year. And on the outside, Schmidt of the Netherlands. So here we go, the men's 60-meter hurdles final. They've had no heat, just 1 hit out for these men, 1 race. Pascal Martinot-Lagarde, you do look at him and think this is really, he's the fastest on paper on season's best. He's the fastest by a mile when it comes to lifetime best. This is his bid at starting to think about qualifying for those European Championships. 7:63 is the qualifying mark. 7:57 the world mark. He's been there many times before. Pascal Martinot-Lagarde, he was last to rise, wasn't he? But first to get away, starts to get into his rhythm. Lecour on his outside is going to challenge him. Oh! But the great wins with a smile on his face. 7:69. Perhaps the season's best when we see the official result. There you are, an equal season's best for Martinot-Lagarde, and it's another consistent run. He's going to have to bring his A game when he goes to those French Indoor Championships if he stands a chance of representing come Appledorn. But he's looking good. Pascal Martinot-Lagarde, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to the crowd, and it's been a pleasure. He's as quick to exit as he is to do the event itself. Or he's quick to congratulate. I think that's more like it. And I think we might have a trackside interview. Those women in the 800 have been out there an awfully long time. They'll have the nerves coming through them. But let's hear from the victor.
Voilà, Pascal, c'est pas fini, arrête! Nous dis pas que c'est fini. Tiens, attends, on va s'éloigner un petit peu. Voilà, parce que j'ai mes camarades de la solo qui m'ont dit t'approches pas trop de... Ouais, parce que c'est pas fini, arrête.
Bah, quand on est sprinter, on est un peu vieux. 33, bientôt 34, tout ça. Dans l'idée, j'ai encore quelques cuisses, j'ai encore des ischios qui fonctionnent bien. Mais bon, je suis en train de commencer une sorte de virage d'après-carrière. Je suis arrivé à un point où, si ça devait finir, je partirais en paix. Donc là, je prends du plaisir. Merci beaucoup, Metz, d'avoir joué le jeu. Moi, c'était un kiff de courir. Merci beaucoup.
Le kiff de Pascal Martino-Lagarde.
Well, there you are. We heard from the great. A quick replay of that performance. Like I said, lost the rise in that set position. However, got out well. He was under pressure by the Kur. Perhaps Kur gets overlooked in that one, as he did almost edge clear, but no one can lean like Martino-Lagarde. Both of them under pressure, and Kur just clipping a few, you can see, and it's cost him. He'll look back on that and he'll kick himself. However, fine run from the great. Getting back to his best, we hope. And there's the official result. Look at that, 200th of a second between them. Drop guards there in third. Ishikawa, Japanese man, in fourth. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the women's 800-meter final. We have a fantastic lineup, really a world-class lineup. Rachel Palau, the Swiss athlete, 52 point is her 400-meter speed, so worth keeping an eye on. She goes in lane 1, however, heavy favorite, you would say, Daguma. What a year she had in 2024. Few knew who she was before then. However, she certainly put herself on the map. The Ethiopian talent, just 24 years of age now, the World Indoor Championship, silver medalist at the Olympic Games. That's something which eludes Riki. Is an Olympic medal. She came agonizingly close in 2021. Coaching switch in 2024. 1:55.61, her best outdoors. Silver medalist last year at the World Indoor Championships. And this lady, Yurigo, she too had a fantastic 2024. National record, by the way, age 37 in 2023. The semi-finalist in the Olympic Games. 1:58 performer outdoors. Gaia Nova, silver medalist. Right behind Keely Hodgkinson, outdoors at those European Championships. Very impressive. Pizzo. Carla Pizzo sharing a lane. Those two certainly good competitors. Good enough to challenge here for the victory. What is Amelia? Well, she's been strong so far this season. Semi-finalist Olympic Games. Second at those World Under-20 Championships back in 2021. And Candice Judon, eyes on her. 2:02 season's best. Can she challenge? Well as Amelia, by the way, fourth last weekend in Val d'Arroy. It's a funny race. They got out hard, slowed, it was a little bit messy. It was a classic early season 800-meter affair. Sana and Palau. Those two, the pole and the Swiss athlete, go 1-2. So, if anything, it is a packed women's 800. Look, Daguma likes to control things. She does like to get out quite hard, and she's going to have to. Just the sheer volume of women we have in this race is going to make for a busy competition. So away they go. Daguma's on the outside. Pace has got a job to actually get round her. I mentioned she likes to get out hard, and the pacemaker leaning in on Daguma over on the far side. Palau, the Swiss athlete, also gets out incredibly hard because she wants a good spot also. So these women finally settle down. Here we are, 1:58.5. That's the weight like technology. That's what it's at. The World Championship mark, by the way, qualifying mark, just too flat. Daguma just looking to control things. Riki in behind her. And this is a bit of a rerun of that World Indoor Championships in 2024. Riki on that occasion did just sit on the shoulder, was happy to run wide for a lot of that race. And as I say that, looks to move up on Daguma, who has no interest in going with the pacemaker, and perhaps a bit of a shame. These women have got standards to run, but nothing prepares you like a championship than championship-style racing, being in the moment, being reactive, being responsive. And so I think Riki will be just relishing the way this race is unfolding. It's quick enough, though. 31 point for that second 200, so it hasn't settled too much. Palau there still in second. She's looking eager, isn't she? She wants to move things along herself. Boy, oh boy, going over. Perhaps we expect a little bit more from her to start to challenge. Riki's going to be under pressure. She's going to have to make a decision now. You've got to hold off the likes of Palau at this stage. She's an accomplished 800-meter runner. You don't come fourth at the Olympic Games if you're not. So the two we expected. 130 at 600. How fast can they close? Championship style racing would require a sub-30 last 200 if they're to put on the afterburners. Daguma doing what she does best. Leading from the front. Riki putting her under pressure. This would be a statement victory from Riki if she could take down the world indoor champion. I don't think she's going to do it. But Daguma, coming off that Olympic silver medal, leads and smashes home that last 100. 1:58.99. That is very impressive. A 28-point final 200. And that is championship style racing, controlling from the front. You can indoors. Over the 800, there's no wind. There's almost no disadvantage to be out front like that, to be setting the tempo. And that's a fantastic world lead. It's a good run from Riki there in second. Of course, the season's best, 1:59.72. And this is the difference, ladies and gentlemen, from good international 800-meter runners to world-class 800-meter runners. And look at that, putting 3-4 seconds on Palau in third. They were together almost at the bell. A lightning-quick last 200. And there's one woman who would have kept an eye on this race, and that's Keely Hodgkinson. We know she's going to go for that potential world record indoors next weekend at the Keely Classic, a meet that she has founded and had named after her. It's setting up to be a special occasion. I'm sure we're going to see Riki line up there as well in Birmingham next weekend. However, Daguma is special, and she's a very, very good tactician when it comes to indoor racing. Keely Hodgkinson likes the front run as well. So does Daguma. It's going to be fascinating, isn't it, come Nanjing, when those two face off. Boy, oh boy. Defending champion versus the Olympic champion. Looking back on that, it's such a difficult task to do, to close out that final 200 and arguably the quickest split of the race. We'll have to go back and analyze those splits. And I can't remember off the top of my head what that opening 200 was. But there you have it in the women's 800 over and done with. It's a meet record, beating Nakai's meet record, by the way, from last year. Uganda, 1:59.1. So just nicks inside that, 1:58.97, and is comfortably a world lead as well. So the women's 800 bubbling away at the moment. You could argue, you know, we haven't seen too many sub-2 clockings. It hasn't taken off too much, but 2 here today. And just looking a little bit further down, Gayanova perhaps a little bit disappointed with that. In 7th, European Championship silver medalist, Rosamilia as well, 2.5. That's well below what she can do. And I've got to give it to Palau there in third. She was the one who got after it, covered the move, and was aggressive at the start. And once she got into that third spot, she's managed to maintain. And 800 indoors, look, if you're further down in the pack through that opening 200, the bodies you have to get by on these tight bends and the moves you have to make to get yourself up at the front of the race is almost too difficult. Your race is almost over. If you don't get out hard enough and you don't get into the top 3 or 4, it's going to be very difficult to challenge for the win, unless the pace is extremely hot and those around you really fade. Okay, from the 800 to the 3,000, the men, you can see them just doing their final strides, preparing for 15 laps of this indoor track. The crowd will be right on them. And there's one man in particular they'll be looking at, and that is Jan Scrub. European silver medalist. European gold medalist on the cross country as well in 2023. What a run that was. 2024 was a memorable year for Scrub. It really was. And 7:38 here last year. So just to give you a little bit of context, it's a meet he likes to include in his yearly preparations for the outdoor season. Darren McElhenney, another man to look out for. Andrew Kiptoo, and there's a couple, just like in the women's race, there are a couple youngsters here today. That's a worth taking note of. And Kiptoo Alamisi of Kenya is one of them, the world under 20 5,000 meter champion, 13:05. A 5,000 meter lifetime best. What can he do over 3,000? And of course, the Kenyans and Ethiopians, you know, the East Africans, a little bit of an unknown. They don't run on these indoor circuits. They come over to a completely new continent and compete here, perhaps a little untested. You know, you look at someone like Scrub, he's been indoors. You know, he's been training away on these circuits. He's familiar with these banks. He knows how it feels. He knows the rhythm of indoor racing. We've got the two Gurma brothers in here as well, Amayas and Kuma. Kuma, a sub-13 minute 5K man on the roads, just 20 years of age. 7:37, his lifetime best. Look out for him. Amayas is also a world under 20 champion from 2022 over the 800, a 1:44 800 meter runner. And I haven't even mentioned Dominic Labalu. He needs no introduction. There's Alamisi, mentioned him. The world under 20 champion. Look out for that bright blue vest. Well, there's Azizi. Look out for him, the Ethiopian, also 7:39, great depth. There's the two Gurma brothers. Simon Bedard there, Senard alongside him, Will Barnaco, the Brit, Ayelu. A whole host of Ethiopians to look out for. I believe Ayelu might be pacing. Kipruga is certainly pacing. Dominic Labalu, a 12:50 man over 5,000. Fourth at the Olympic Games, agonizingly close. So here we go. Oh, I thought I heard the gun go again for a false start, but no, they're away in the men's 3,000. I do apologize, and this is very, very aggressive. The pacemakers, they know they need to get out front. Kipruga paced George Mills to a world lead last weekend. Can he do it once again here, this time in Metz? 7:29, those wave lights are going to operate at. It's easy maths for us at home. Roundabout, we're looking for around about 30 seconds a lap, 60 seconds a quarter. Over on the outdoor track, and Scrub, well, it's good to see him get up there and sort of get after it. Is he hoping for a 7:30? He's hovering on those red lights. I think he might like, or let the likes of Labalu and Ayelu just sort of drift away from him a little bit. And I think he's going to perhaps look for a more modest sort of 7:30 mid-range and then try and close hard. He's got Gurma right behind him. And Labalu just sort of loping along there in what, fourth, second in the race at this stage. He's on those green lights, and Scrub does seem to be right on him. And he'll know by now through that opening 400, that sets the tone. And that world indoor standard, ladies, in 7:31, it's quite something. It's a bit of a shame because you come into a race like this and you've got some fantastic European athletes a little bit further back. You'll be looking for that 7:43 standard. We're not going to see them at all out here, ladies and gentlemen, not when they're lapping in 30 point. This is fantastic pacing. It really is. Bang on the money. Up front here, Kipruga took Mills to just under 2,000 meters at this same sort of tempo, so he's going to do it again here in Metz. As I mentioned, he sits in second. Mukesa Fakeda of Ethiopia, another 7:42 man. He's also in this Alamisi. Then we're not seeing the youngsters so far. Ayelu just looking very, very smooth. He really is. Hailu Ayelu. Just there, and for the first time, well, it looks like it's Kuma Gurma. He's looking, sort of announcing himself, and we would expect to see him feature. That 7:37 is going to be rewritten in Metz. I'm almost certain of it. You know, and you think sibling Lemecha Gurma, the 3,000 meters steeplechase world record holder, but he's also the indoor 3,000 world record holder with that 7:23. He is a special, special talent. So Ayelu there, sitting in second, Gurma in behind, Dominic Labalu. This is starting to thin out, and this is not a train, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's going to be an absolute sufferfest. It's going to be carnage over this last kilometre, well, last 2 kilometres really. They're sort of coming up for the halfway mark. But already it's a bit of a massacre. You're seeing these men really stretch out. They're just doing their best to latch on to one another. I mean, 7:31 is a frighteningly fast pace. It sort of gets you you know, it's faster than the likes of Kipchoge, but Keeley over the 3,000 indoors. That puts this world qualification mark into context and where global distance running is right now in 2025. Dominic Labalu just hanging on to those green lights. He knows he's going to have to if he wants that world indoor qualifying mark. His rankings arguably are going to be plenty good enough. A bit of context, he's run 7:27 outdoors, but that's when he's fully firing outdoors, you know, not early on in early Feb. The Olympic Games, 4th place or over 5,000. He's good in a championship race. His strength is there, 26.54 over 10,000 outdoors. That really showed that his strength is there, and he can do it over 10,000. He'll be happy enough with that performance on the road. And look at this, Ayelu just looking down, glancing down at his watch here. And he is on the pace there. He's the only one who is up for it. He's the only one who looks like he is going to be able to hold this pace now. Kiprugat steps off the track. It's all Haley Olalu at this stage, a 3,000 meter steeplechase where he's an world under 20. Bronze medalist is Ayelu, but he is just pouring it on at the moment. He really is. And you think, you know, a steeplechase clocking of 8:24, it doesn't suggest much. And so this is a little bit of a surprise. If it is Ayelu, I'll try and just get full confirmation of that when I see his bid. But he's now, this is what Mills done last weekend. He was operating in that 7:30 tempo. And he continued to just pour it on. And the last kilometer was just something. And you know what? I believe that is Germa. It's Kuma Germadin. Replicating what his brother has done over the last few years. He's looking ever so smooth. 3,000 seems to be their distance. It really does. Ayelu further back. Amayas Germa also in this field, the 144 man over 800. He's now struggling. 7:41 last year in 2024. And Dominic Labalu, Germa to be putting away Labalu in this fashion is quite special. So they have 4 laps to run. We're getting into the business end of this 3,800 meters. The world lead of 7:27.92 from George Mills just a week ago. Paced by Kiprugat. Could be under threat here. Aragawi, the meet record holder from 2020. 7:36. And what that man has done outdoors has been frightening. The world record, Lemaitre Germa. Kuma here will know him very, very well. They'll train with each other. They'll do so many miles together, and he knows what it takes to reach the heights of a sub 7:30 over 3,000, let alone that perhaps quicker. But for the first time, is he starting to struggle now? 500 meters remaining, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a solo effort, so often the way at these 3,000 meter races indoors. By the way, Jan Scrub is running very, very well. He came here last year, he ran 7:38. He's just inside that at the moment. He seems to be in second place. The crowd will be enjoying the Frenchman. And the lights just continue to pull away. A 30.2 for Germa up at the front. He's right around that tempo, perhaps after the pacemaker. Kiprugat dropped out. He just surged a little bit too much. He did a bit too much work. He really looked to get beyond those lights, but now he's suffering it, and he hasn't got any competition really, unless we could see something special from Scrub over the last 400. I'm not sure we're going to see it over the last 200 even. So 200 run, 30 point. It is Kuma Germa up front. He's been here all race long. He's the man who came with the most intent through those opening laps, right on the pacemaker's heels, and he's poured it on. He's a special talent. He's broken 13 for 5,000. On the roads, though, still just 20 years of age, and he's come here. He's going to smash the meet record, 7:31. He's going to take the victory and Scrub with a very impressive final 200. 7:34 was it? Well, I'd say remember the name, but we're already familiar with that Germa name. The world record holder. However, there is a new Germa on sound. Kuma Germa with the meet record, 7:31. Scrub improves on his performance in 2024, 7:35. Labalu fades back, 7:41. Surprisingly fades back. Senard, 7:42. And there you are. There's the Amias Germa, the 144 Angelina man, stepping up in distance. 7:43 for him. Darren McElhenney, 7:45. Nice, modest season's best. It's easy for Kadu, Hayelu. A whole bunch of them a little bit further down. Whew. And it's tough. There's a gulf in class at this level. And Scrub really is. He's world class now. You know, the European cross-country champion, European silver medalist over 10,000. And he really was the only one. You would have thought Labalu could have lived with that pace, but he was the only one who was able to live with it and not completely blow up. And it was a bit of a massacre out there in this men's 3000. And it's difficult for a lot of these athletes who come here, and you look at that European standard as 7:43. When you've got the likes of Germa up front attacking a sub 7:30, it blows the race wide open. Here, let's hear from Scrub.
Ouais, bah c'est vrai que je voulais pas faire la même erreur. Je suis parti un peu plus doucement que l'année dernière. À l'entraînement, c'était pas fameux ces derniers temps. Je voulais pas faire de saison indoor. Dominique Abyss fait son meeting incroyable chaque année. Je me devais de venir. Aujourd'hui, je gagne pas. Devant, c'était plus fort. Il est sur les bases du record de France, donc c'est pas grave. Je bats mon record de 3 secondes de l'année dernière. Je fais deuxième, c'est pas trop mal. Merci à vous, j'ai surtout passé un très bon moment. Et je pense que pour la suite de l'entraînement, ça va être important. Donc merci à tout le public messin. Merci à Dom pour l'organisation. Et rendez-vous l'année prochaine.
Attends, on va pas se quitter comme ça. On va pas se quitter comme ça. Moi, j'ai besoin d'en savoir un peu plus. C'est quoi la suite de la saison?
Bah, je vais pas trop courir, j'avoue que je vais plutôt privilégier les entraînements. L'objectif principal, ça reste le mois d'avril. Les championnats d'Europe sur route, la première édition, 10 km. Donc j'ai 2 mois pour bien me préparer, ce sera ça l'objectif. Aujourd'hui, c'est vrai, c'est par rapport à l'entraînement qui n'était pas top, 7:35, c'est ça le temps. Je valide, franchement. Je pense qu'au vu de la course que j'ai fait, je termine un peu plus vite, donc tant mieux. Et surtout, pour une fois en salle, je prends du plaisir. Donc merci à tous aussi parce que je vous ai bien entendu.
Merci, merci beaucoup. On peut applaudir Yann. Faites du bruit, oh!
Well, there we are. You know, you look at him and Gressier right now. And, you know, even in the steeplechase, on Millet as well. And what these guys are doing for French athletics, distance running, I mean, they really are, you know, competing on the world level. And you don't often see it. The Americans have always been there or thereabouts, but a few Europeans have been able to compete, of course, bar Jakob Ingebrigtsen. But we are seeing a shift in distance running, I think, globally. And we're seeing a lot more. Look at that, Antoine Senard. Great running from him. 7:42, good lifetime best. There's Simon Bedard. A little bit further back, Will Barnico, unfortunately, dropping out of that one. Okay, next on the track, the men's 800 meters. Ryan Clark goes in lane 1, Tom Dradriga in 2, the Ugandan Leclésio. Norrington Leclésio, he's having a pretty good season so far. Here's Leclésio, made the Olympic Games in Paris, unfortunately knocked out in that repechage round, but someone who is moving well, Noah Kebet, getting back to his best. The World Indoor silver medalist from 2022, still just 20 years of age. It's frightening, really, but a second in Dortmund and a win in Val de Roy on the skin of his teeth. But he is moving well. Chik Seradowski, I can only presume he's pacing on the outside. Here's Noah Kebet. Loves the indoors, says Kebet. He's a good racer. Wow, Slimani Mula. 45.5 for the Algerian, third in Ostrava. Fifth on 2 accounts at the World Championship, 22 and 23. 2024 wasn't his year. Elliot Giles, wow, British record holder, 143 man indoors at his best. Frightening, really. Leclésio, look out for him. He was 4th last week, but you feel he's got a bit of momentum. Somebody prove here today. Giga. The Ugandan in 2, and then on the inside, Clark. Look out for him, 144. Siradowski pacing. We were due to have Masilela, the Botswanan athlete. 142, 7th in that Olympic Games final, however, not here. the way to go. And you look at this and you would say, just on current form, Quebec probably the favourite. The World Indoor Silver Medalist from 2022, but also he's been there or thereabouts in every race he's run this season. Giles likes the lead. He's not going to be able to get to the front in this one. It's messy. Oh, boy. A little bit messy already in this men's 800. So often the why. You look now, Clark and Muller got to be in the best position. Muller just on the outside. He's going to drift himself in behind the pacemaker through that first 200. 24.6. Frightening fast as well. And it's, of course, going to settle at some point. And Jajiga, nice and smooth there, a little bit further back on those green lights. 144.9. For context, the world lead at the moment, 144.6. Canales, he did have a free hit, a bit of a free run. You want that in an 800. You don't want someone in front of you. You want to be able to just run hard, gun to tape, really. And Muller, I think, is going to do that. Clark, surprisingly, moving very, very well. And second, the Dutchman. Is he going to announce himself as a bit of a contender for that European title in a few weeks' time? Because he's looking good. He's having to chop his stride a little bit. Here's Clark. And you can see in behind Muller, who's a little bit scrappy, isn't he, for an 800 runner. But he's experienced in 2024. Didn't quite go to plan. He's looking to correct that in 2025. 117 at the bell then. Slowest lap by far. Here comes Noah Quebec. Here comes Elliot Giles. They're going to have to hunt down over this final 200. And this is what Quebec does, ladies and gentlemen. His last 50 is mightily impressive indoors. He slingshots off this bend. Muller's going to tie up. Noah Quebec, the silver medalist from 2022 at the World Indoors. Can he get on terms with the Algerian? No is the answer. 1:45.13. It's a meet record. And in the end, a pretty smooth 800 from Muller. Good running. Good running from that man, and all you can do is win. And win is what he did here today. Quebec perhaps left it too late. The fact he had to get past Clark on the back straight made it difficult. There you are, no doubt about the meet record. Like I said, Athlelor, the 142 man, was the current meet record holder, 145.5. Shame not to see him here. He was due to run during the week, so clearly. And pulled out the Botswana, an athlete. And it's a bit of a luck of the draw over there. I say luck of the draw, but this first sort of 200 or so, just got to be able to get out and set the race up nicely. Clark did fade, but you know, the likes of Giles and Quebec, they just got stuck a little bit in that race and could never quite get back onto Muller. But that comes, you know, the more races they do over the next few weeks, the sharper they're going to feel, the faster they're going to feel, and they'll be able to just attack that first 200 a little bit more. Because boy, you know, 24 points through the first 200 and indoor 800, that is fast.
Et les deux premiers concurrents sont sous l'ancien record du titre. Il rentre dans le top 5 mondial.
Well, there you are, in full confirmation, and the top three all sneaking inside 146. Very, very good running. 145.89 for Giles, 145.19 for Quebec, and Muller managing to hang on for the victory there. 145.11, half a second off that world lead. We know what he's going to be hunting next time out.
Du nombre de performances de haut niveau dans chacune des épreuves, eh bien aujourd'hui, si on ne passe pas ce cap de la 6e place mondiale.
Okay, just a few races remaining. Women's 200 meters, and then we'll get into that men's 600. Interestingly, it's not often run on the world circuit, that's for sure. However, Mezian goes in it, his lifetime best from 2023 in the 800, 143.94. And you just wonder when you see a 600 on the program. We saw Elia Crestan run a fantastic European record, 114.92 the other day. Are we going to see an attack on a European record or a French record? Is that the purpose of this race? Closing out the meeting here in Metz as well. So do the athletes, potentially the meet organisers, know something that we don't at home? But that will crown off the evening. For now, all eyes on the women's 200. We're due to see Lika Klava. We're due to see Tori Lewis, who won the 60 in fine form. And quite a few who done the 60 are going to cross over into this 200, and quite a few who done the 400 are going to step down into this 200. So it promises to be quite a fascinating race here. And you know, you feel a little bit more sorry, don't you, for those who are stepping down from the 400. And you think the likes of Lika Klaver, the fatigue she's going to have in her legs. So just like we saw in the 400, we're going to see 3 races, and this one being what they're calling the C final. Huh? Jessica Bianca Vesely of Germany. I mean, does not belong in any C final, to be honest. The 3 times national champion, 22.5 lifetime best, outdoor season best 22.84, ranks her 5th in the world, ladies and gentlemen. On the inside of her, then, the Belgian Yehais ran strongly in the 60. Marval as well, 52.5 in the 400, if I remember correctly. Van Leur goes in this, and I like to see this from meet organisers. You know, they're not just inviting athletes competing in one event. They're saying, hey, look, come here. We'll give you a couple hits out. It's going to be a fantastic training day. Do your A event, if you like, which for a lot of these women was the 60. For some, it was the 400. And then come, operate over the 200. Of course, the 200 is not a championship event. It will not be at the European Championships or the World Championships. 10 women, for reference, sub 23 point this year. The women's 200 meters. Vesely, Yehais, Marval, Van Leur, and Nerua on the inside. Can anyone live with the German Vesely, who goes in 6th? Yehais will do her very, very best on the inside of her. That's an aggressive opening first 100, getting onto her down that back stretch. However, Vesely, this is where she comes into the own. Ranked 5th in the world right now, the German, using the back to her advantage and pulls clear comfortably of the rest, 23.18. Not quite a season's best, but hey, make that 3 wins from 3 in 2025 for Jessica Bianca Vesely. Super right, Marval there in 2nd, 23.61, lifetime best. That's great running, doubling back from the 400. Yehais there, 23.84, just faded. I think just went out too aggressively, but what option do you have, really? You know, especially this early on in the season. You've got very, very little to lose, but right up onto the shoulder of Vesely then. But look, when you've got that bank, that steeper bank coming off that final turn, it's a nice feeling when you're Vesely, knowing, look, she might be on my shoulder due to the stagger unwinding. However, I'm going to have a lot more momentum and a much, much quicker turnover over this last kind of 20 or 30 meters. And she took that right the way through to the finish, did Vesely. So 23.15, nothing to write home about. 23.61 there from Marval. And Yehais there in 3rd, 23.84. And 2 Dutch women settling for 5th and 6th. And Yehais, well, it's been a tough afternoon for her, it really has. Doubling back. Recovery will be the focus for the next 48 hours for her. You can be sure of that. So heat 2, I say heat 2, final 2, the B final to come, and we are going to see Tori Lewis, the young Australian phenom, you could say, and dominated the women's 60. She's back in the 200, a pretty short turnaround for her. There's Lika Klaver as well. She's warming up, just enjoying herself now. I think she's had the pressure of the 400 be done with, and you know, now she will just be, this is a little bit of championship practice for her, a little bit of speed work as well, stepping down. And again, you know, we are seeing these races have been seeded where they have had kind of one clear favorite, often comes in the outside lane because it is, you know, the bends are the least aggressive, geometry slightly better and more conducive for the likes of Tori Lewis on the outside. Vandenberg goes on the inside of her. Van Hoenesten, who, by the way, had a very, very good run in that B final, coming back late against Rimlinger, so you think she would be confident in closing this 200. The endurance she showed in the 60. And for Lorenzo on the inside, 23.60. So, hey, what can Tori Lewis done? She's never done an indoor 200 before. 22.88 her lifetime best. The World Junior silver medalist outdoors in 2024. The Olympic Games semi-finalist. And the winner here in Metz over the 60. Meet record, by the way, Femke Bol, 22.64. Is it under threat? Time will tell. So away we go then. All eyes on Lewis. It's a good start. She started very, very well in this 60 as well. It's carried over to the 200. Up, down the back stretch and around this top bend. She'll have to work up that little hill, but now she's going to have gravity on her side as she comes down this bank, continuing to dominate. We knew she'd win here. By how much is the question? Tori Lewis, 22.67. It's a world lead, unofficially. Now, 22.64 is that meet record. How close was she? Oh, boy. She is just going from strength to strength. Is anything stopping this woman? Wow, 22.65. It's a world lead. She just misses Femke Bol's meet record by 100th of a second. Personal best for Vandenberg in behind her. Lurkin, Van Hoenesten, and Lorenzo there in third and fourth. Season's best for them. Oh, there's Vandenberg on the inside of her, but wow. This is a very, very impressive and accomplished sprinter coming out of Europe right now. Coming out of Australia, but her results coming out of Europe. You know, she's been on the continent competing over the last few weeks and continue to impress, and she's been getting faster and faster throughout the season. And that's her favorite event, what we've just witnessed her in 22.65. I mean, to go to post a world lead. And look, not many race the 200 indoors. We know that. It's not a championship event. But I tell you where they do race it, in America. And hey, guess what? That's where the best sprinters in the world live. That is Jamaica, of course. And so there we are. The Australian putting her hat in the ring for 2025. An athlete to watch out for. Still just 20 years of age. Very, very exciting. And also, where's her next move going to be? So a big world lead. And how long is the world lead going to live for? Lika Klaver. Lifetime best of 22.81. Does she have it in her to run a world lead? That would mean going quicker than Femke Bol's meet record. And perhaps the 400 runner, who, interestingly enough, will be racing against Brodier, who almost, well, Klaver managed to hold her off. But here we are. So Vandenschoot, Bishops, Brodier, and Klaver in this one. The multiple Olympic medalist Lika Klaver in the relay. Training partner of Femke Bol, who has obviously announced, I think for obvious reasons as well, the fact that she will not partake in individual events, the World Indoors or the European Indoors, but she will compete in the relay. Perhaps that opened the door for Klaver to announce herself as a European champion. Very, very strong over the 400 indoors. Bishop's here in fourth. Also the Dutch athlete and Vandenschoot as well. Goes on the inside in lane 3. Tough indoors being seated in those inner lanes over the 400. It doesn't give you much of a chance. Over the 200, even worse. So Klaver in full focus. She won the 400. Can she challenge to win the 200? It would take a world lead. It would take a meet record. I suspect anything inside 23 seconds she'll be very happy with and content doubling back after that 400. So where we go, all four women get off the line very well. Klaver's going to build into her running. She's going to use these banks. She's going to work down the back straight. This is perhaps where she's going to be at her absolute fastest at this section of the race. So Lieke Klaver still leads. She is under threat here from Bishop's on the inside of her. Klaver's going to have gravity on her side. She's going to have that momentum. She's going to use it to power through and take the win. 23:11. Strong running from her. And I said anything around about that 23-second mark, I think she would have wanted a little bit more from herself today. Not just in the 200, perhaps in the 400 as well. But that's good enough, and it's good enough to take the win. Bishop's on the inside of her with a lifetime best. And Brozier and Van der Schoot settling for third and fourth. So an exciting one-lap event. And it is, for me, it is a bit disappointing they don't hold the 200 indoors at championships, because I think it has a lot of appeal, and the 60 always brings in some surprise results, and I think the indoor 200 would too. And I'm not sure what the reasoning is. We see it in the NCAAs, and I think it is purely down to the fact that really you could probably only have 3 or 4 per race just because of the banks and how tight those turns are on those inside lanes. You really have no hope at featuring coming from lane 1, 2, or possibly even 3 indoors. In the NCAA, they tend to work it in a way where they have, the final will be split over 2 races. They'll have 2 heats of 4, and it's the fastest on time. Well, there you are, confirmation of the results, Lieke Klaver. That means, of course, Tori Lewis, the overall winner with that fine, 22.65. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have one event left here in this fantastic arena in Metz, and that is the men's 600 meters next on the track. Donovan Brazier's world record from 2019, 1:13.77, and you talk about how tight these banks are. I mean, even for 600, they are very, very aggressive, and it's an impressive run from Brazier around that time. Let's hear from Tori Lewis.
Femke still has the meeting record, so I can try again next year for that. But yeah, this is an indoor and outdoor PB, so really happy with that. And
what was your PB outside?
Outdoors, it was 22.88.
Son record à l'extérieur, qui est en général bien au-dessous, était de 22,88. Aujourd'hui, elle fait le record du meeting, elle fait son record en salle. J'avais déjà repéré et j'étais venu pour ça. Elle vous l'a dit carrément. Elle était venue pour ce record. What about the season, the following season? Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire pour la saison à venir?
Yeah, hopefully going to indoors, running the 60 there, and then back to Australia for my national outdoors, and then come back to Europe for some competitions, and then Japan at the end of the season is the plan.
Oula, elle a un gros programme, hein, parce qu'elle va se préparer sur 60 mètres, hein, elle va sur 200 pour les championnats du monde. Elle sera dans le relais d'Australie, et ensuite elle ira faire une tournée du Japon. You will be with us next year?
Here?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Je lui demandais si elle sera l'année prochaine. Elle dit probablement. Mesdames et messieurs, Tori Lewis.
Well, why wouldn't you want her back, eh? I think the meet organisers signing Tori Lewis up for 2026 already after the show she has put on today. And to see world leads and meet records come out of your meeting is all you can ask for. Okay, the men's 600, the final race of the day. On the inside, you see Matej Elias, Leo Bonnick, Courtois, Noam Mamou, Ivan Palija, and Yanis Mezgin on the outside. Well, there's Saidi, Fabricio Saidi, and well, there's a lot of men in this race who, there's no disrespect to them, but you look at, and quite simply, if this man gets it right, Mezien, they will not feature. And I wonder if he's got a European record on his mind. A world lead, by the way, 1:14.90. Crest down around 1:14.92 just the other day. Mezien is going to want to attack that. I'm sure of it. He won in not too long ago. He was fourth at those French national championships. He missed out on the Olympics. He's up. Mamou's capable. I mean, this man, Israeli national under-20 record holder last year, 1:17.46. And he did this in Metz, ladies and gentlemen, so he knows this track well. Le Portu and Bonnie there. Those two sharing a lane. And right on the inside there, Metz Elias. And this is going to be interesting. They are going to get out very, very aggressively in order to find their place. You don't want to be overtaken too much in a 600. So why are they going? Mezien. This man, as I mentioned before, missed out on those Olympic Games in Paris, and that would have been a tough pill to swallow. He would have had to look at the likes of Tual, go there and perform and be inside that absolute cauldron. However, it's fuel for the fire, and he'll know that. He's here in an unusual 600 competing. He would have witnessed that 800 and would have had some fine talent and perhaps had his own ideas on where he would have come in that one, but all eyes on this 600. We've just got him and the clock really. 1:14.90 is the time to look at. That's the world lead. Meet record as well, and it would be a fine run. Boy, does he look smooth at this stage. Saidi is going to cheer him on down this home straight. So, Mezien coming into this final to ride 49.4 at 400. He's going to need a 25 point over this last lap if he's going to threaten for that record. Can he do it? He's edging clear at his lights. He's looking very, very smooth. Ladies and gentlemen, Yanis Mezien, a 1:43 performer outdoor. He's taking it to not just France, but the world here. Over 600. Oh, agonizingly close. 1:15.11. He just lost it, didn't he, in that last 50. The most encouraging thing I think he'll take from this is how smooth he looked at 400. He just looked so comfortable, and perhaps a little bit of competition over that last 200, perhaps got out a little bit hot. But it bodes well, when you can turn up and you can run a 1:15 flat basically over 600, you're in with a shout. Come the 800, come Apeldoorn. So he's sharpening the legs up for that national championships to come. It's going to be tough to make that French team. It really is. It always is. He'll know more than anyone. But we fully expect to see him in Apeldoorn and those World Indoor Championships. I think we're going to hear from him trackside. So we'll stick around on air. But, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure. And 29 events later, unfortunately, this meeting here in Metz has come to a close. Let's hear from the victor in the 600 meters.
Le 600 mètres reste une épreuve qui est très pratiquée, notamment aux États-Unis. Et il y a une meilleure performance française de tous les temps. J'ai pas envie de dire ça. J'ai envie de parler de record de France, si tu me le permets. Yanis, nouveau record de France du 600 mètres. Yanis Mezien.
C'est le record de France.
Ouais, Yanis, ça va bien cette saison. Ça tourne bien, ça tourne rond.
Ah bah, ça, je suis content. Là, j'enchaîne avec 2 800 sur les 2 dernières semaines. Là, j'étais venu faire un 600 qui n'était pas du tout prévu de base. C'était plus pour un entraînement pour les prochains objectifs, parce que notamment, je vais courir à Liévin, puis après les championnats, les Europes, les mondes. Donc ouais, c'était un entraînement. Je remercie d'ailleurs l'organisateur du meeting, parce que ça s'est fait vraiment à la dernière seconde. Donc je suis très content, l'objectif il est rempli. Prochaine fois, je ferai en dessous d'une 15, j'espère.
T'as piqué le record à Bébert.
Ah bah c'était ça l'objectif, j'espère qu'il m'en voudra pas. Mais ça va, on s'entend bien, donc je pense qu'il sera content que je lui ai piqué.
Voilà, Yanis Mezien, s'il vous plaît.
Well, great to hear from Yanis Mezien, who won that 600 He was so close to that world leader, 1:14.90, and of course attacking Gresstan's mark. That's a man that he's going to go head-to-head to shortly at the European Indoor Championships. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in here at European Athletics for the meeting Metz. We've seen some phenomenal performances. We really have. World lead after world lead. We've seen multiple meet records as well. We really are into the business end of the indoor season. We've got another week left on the circuit before that national championship weekend. And then the deadline slams shut and the start list for those European championships will be finalized, as well as the world championships. And there's a quick summary of the men's 600. But for now, it is good night, farewell, and see you soon.